RotoGrinders, Dean here. Monday, MLB, wow, NBA, DFS. Every team in the association is playing today. 15 games. They go dark tomorrow for the election. So no basketball tomorrow. Everybody plays tonight. Everybody plays in 15-minute increments. Part of the reason for that, I believe, Andre, is that they're giving away the app tonight. They want people to watch basketball all throughout the night, and theoretically, you can sort of watch the last 5-10 minutes of every single game, whatever. Just keep changing the channel, and the games don't stop. That's what I saw as far as NBA media. And again, if you guys don't have a league pass for whatever reason, you can watch all the games for free tonight on the NBA app. Yeah, Andre, it's overwhelming. Lots of news to come. Lots of news already, as we've seen. Nobody's playing on the front end of back-to-back. There are some teams playing in the back end, about 6 or so. Utah, the Clippers, Cleveland, Lakers, Bulls, Toronto, Washington, Memphis. I'm running some optimals right now. I imagine we're going to get several Lakers and optimals because for the first time in a long time, LeBron is not playing basketball. Still waiting on Joel Embiid. He's questionable with his illness. Trae Young's got a shin. Lillard's back against our Miami Heat. Levine may play in the back end. We'll see. Tyler Hero, maybe he's questionable. Kevin Porter is questionable. But, dude, I can't believe it. I just ran an optimal on DK, and 4 Lakers appearing on it, and every team is playing. I know LeBron is out, but get out of town. I'm not playing 4. 3 maybe, but we'll see. What's up, Andre? I'm just rambling. Welcome to the show. Just setting the table as far as this big boy slate.
Yeah, it's a very big one. Kind of annoying, but hey, it is what it is. I understand the importance of it with everyone. So with this happening, everyone go vote. It's important. This election actually is very important, so go vote. But besides that, it's just crazy. There's some guys on here though that are must plays, and we were talking a little bit pre-show about how I was saying that I think I want at least 45 from every single player that I'm having in my lineup today. That's probably going to be needed just take down a tournament today. And the thing about this is you have to pick and ciphering through the right ones to get your player pool down to that point too.
I substituted in for the morning grind. Michael in chat. What's up, Michael? What's everybody hanging out in chat and on YouTube? Kindly hit that like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications. Stevie had a child, or his wife had a child. He was there for emotional support. Congratulations to Stevie, who hosts the morning grind. And he hit me up a couple days ago. He's like, "Yeah, you mind hosting the?" Yeah, I can do that. And you look at the schedule. It's like, dude, I got roped in on this one. 15 gamer. It's like, dude, long day. I mean, I had a long day of watching 7 hours of NFL football. I was exhausted, nonstop. But I was up late last night with Keith, and Michael was mentioning he just listened to that podcast. I'm going to try my best not to recycle the same jokes and references. I'll do my best to avoid that. But congratulations to Stevie and his family. And dude, it's everybody's playing. And saying not until we get to the expansion teams in Seattle and Vegas, we're never going to have a slate bigger than this. That's coming. We'll see. 5 years, give or take. And we'll keep our eye as far as the news. The cool thing, I like the 15-minute increments because it's easy to adjust lineups as news kind of comes in. If you want to babysit your lineups, you're playing a bunch, or if you're playing a couple, good stuff theoretically might open up. And that kind of leads to another conversation, Andre, because the first game out the gate is pretty good. And I say first game because, again, there's only one game at 7 o'clock, right? Washington at Charlotte. But how good do the plays have to be early to lock them in? You know what I mean? You want them to be good, but what if you lock in all these plays and great ones, better ones open up and you have no spots to put them? That's, of course, frustrating. But if they don't open up, then all of a sudden now you're kind of sort of stuck. So how do you handle that situation?
Well, it depends how many lineups you're playing. I would say if you're playing a lot of lineups, if you're playing a lot of lineups, you have obviously more flexibility. But if you're playing 1 or 2 lineups, I would just target the good spots against these good players. I wouldn't even worry about ownership tonight because if you find a way to get chalky on this type of slate, then more power to you because 15 games is not going to be – everyone's not going to be highly owned at all. So it's just about putting honesty together. I think tonight the 9 on FanDuel, and I think it's 8 on DK, best place on the slate. That's it. In this first game here, I literally probably only want to play. I will have to pick the guys who I want to play. So like to me, Kristaps Porzingis would be probably a top priority going against Charlotte in that front court. Someone I want to get to a lot. I would want to get to a lot of and have a lot of exposure to, or Kyle Kuzma. That's it. Those are the only two players I would be trying to target from probably this whole game. I wouldn't even take any Charlotte guys because I think that they're too priced up still. Terry Rozier's at a nice price, but he would have to have an upside game for me when there's better players at that price point I think that we can get.
See, that's the thing is that I really like Rozier. 7.7K on DK. He came back with no limitations, 36 minutes. He was chucking. He had a nice matchup there against Brooklyn as well. The matchup against Washington's nothing that scared me. The weird sort of total, it feels a little bit low. DSJ also questionable. Gordon Hayward's out. Cody Martin's doubtful for the 8th time in a row. Of course, LaMelo has not played at all this season. Like, the path is there for Rozier to just like do his thing. I like him a good bit, but that's where I'm sort of like, that's one of my quandaries where I don't know, do I want to lock him in? Theoretically, if I had one lineup, I don't know. I'm going to have some. I'm playing a little bit more than one lineup today, but I just don't know what to do with that. I suppose we'll get news soon on DSJ, and especially if he's out. I mean, I guess Book Night could be interesting. Mm-hmm. He picked up some extra run when Smith was out. I agree on Porzingis. I think Porzingis is a really awesome play, back-to-back for him. He kind of flopped yesterday. I know he was pretty popular on the 3-gamer. That's going to happen. And, of course, Beal. Beal's out with his I think it's a COVID issue or health protocols. I shouldn't say COVID necessarily, but he's not feeling well or there's protocol issue. He's not playing basketball tonight. Otherwise, they're fully healthy. I thought Barton would get more run. Maybe he gets more tonight. 26 minutes as far as the projection. We'll see. Like, theoretically, if you're running like 150, maybe you get a pinch. You can get a pinch of Denny Avdia, but you're right. Like, the two key players to focus on the Washington side is Kuzma and Porzingis. Porzingis and Kuzma should see a nice bump in the absence of Beal. You said you don't like anybody on Charlotte, basically, right? Like, if you're playing one lineup, you're probably crossing them out.
Yeah, like if I'm playing one lineup, I'm crossing them out. I understand the play of Terry Rozier, though, like with all the news and injuries possibility for him to possibly be by himself. But 7.9K, 7.7, like Fred VanVleet is 7.2 without Pascal Siakam on FanDuel. And he just put a 51 against the team. So like someone like that is cheaper that I would want to probably try to get more exposure to. Like you have to just compare it to the other guys, and he's going to be a lot less than him. So I think you just have to compare it and see what you like from there and go for it. And go with what your gut tells you. But I feel like if you do play Terry Rozier, you have to. I would run it back definitely with Kristaps Porzingis or Kyle Kuzma because at that point you want that game to go off and have those pieces go off.
We'll get to that game, by the way. What you mentioned, Freddie, I wonder, is it possible that he sits? I know his coach, Nick Nurse, doesn't really care if you can stand, you can play. He was out for 3 games with a back, and then he came right out and played 39 minutes out the gate. No Pascal Siakam. Nurse will run him 35, 40, 35. That's not nearly enough. 40 minutes. I was just wondering, like the back half of back-to-back, just coming back from his back, if there's a chance he sits, maybe just pure speculation, but I agree with you. I like Freddie if he's a go. Not trying to make anybody else paranoid, but just myself, I think there's like, a 5% chance, 10% chance he happens to sit. We'll get to that one soon enough. 8:45. We should be getting news, a pretty healthy news flow, not just on this show, but like when Andy comes in. Last thing we see is the Clippers, right? The Clippers. Luke Kennard is questionable with his chest, and Reggie Jackson questionable with his knee. That's a fun one because I think, not to jump all over the place, Andre, but I think theoretically a guy like Terrence Mann could be interesting if both those guys out, especially if Reggie Jackson's out. John Wall already ruled out in the back half of a back-to-back. But, yeah, that's the hammer game. We'll talk about that one soon enough. We got 15 games. Can only delegate so much time to each one. Are we good with Washington, Charlotte? Moving on?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. Game number 2 that we have here is Houston at Orlando. 224 is the total. Houston is a 5-point dog here, expecting to get Jabari Smith back from his illness. Maybe he gave whatever he had to Kevin Porter because now Kevin Porter is questionable for Houston. As far as the Orlando side, they're fully healthy with the guys we expect to play. The guys that have been out are still out, Cole Anthony and Fultz and Harris and Wagner. I should say Mo Wagner. Yeah, so this seems like a pretty fun game. If Kevin Porter does play, I have no priorities on Houston. Do you have any priorities on Houston? If he doesn't, I think Green's going to take a few more shots. With Smith coming back, Eason, Martin, Garuba, they're going to get their minutes eaten. Like I can't even consider them on this kind of slate. But as far as Porter, in or out, if he's out, I'm more interested on Green. If he's in, mostly Houston's just kind of a cross off for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel about this a little bit too. Like this whole game is more of it's like this game probably would definitely be a game stacks type of scenario for me. As well. I can't play no one from this game unless I'm running it back on the other side. But if Jalen Green does get like ruled out, then that's the only guy I think you can play by himself. But otherwise, if they're all in and Kevin Porter's back, I would just game stack this game because I think that's how it would go. Is be a fast paced game, be more up tempo. So like Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and Alfred Sengun would be the only guys I would be kind of interested in that type of game. Guys I know have that upside for 40 to 50 fantasy points on this type of slate and in this game that there's going to be hardly any defense being played. I think that total is probably going to go over too than what it is.
Lineup HQ today. Did you pull up on HQ? Or HQ, you're looking at it right now by chance?
Yeah.
Well, these arrows are new to me. They've been like elsewhere, and all of a sudden they put them in a different spot where you can bump teams up incrementally as far as importance, or bump them down if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's new. Like that's kind of confused me. I'm about to try it right now actually because I wonder does it change the projection of the guys? No, it changes. Let me see. I put Houston up. Well, the projections didn't change on them. Well, that would have been nice.
But they might be like, I wanted to ask them. I know it's no other time and a place for it. It's a 15 gamer. I want to ask
them. It did change the projections.
Does it?
No. Oh. It gives them a 2%. The whole everyone a 2% bump on that team.
It prioritizes them a little bit more, I guess, right?
Yeah, it prioritizes them a little bit more. That's a nice little tool.
Yeah, I like the idea. I haven't had a chance to sort of implement it and just kind of mess with it, but I saw it earlier today, and I just assumed that's what it was. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good concept. But you can actually do it with the players individually too, obviously. But now I guess you can do the entire team, prioritizing teams,
which makes more sense, especially on a state like this, because you want to prioritize certain people from certain teams more than more than other teams from on this type of slate.
For Orlando, like it's a cool story with Bull, but I don't think I'm paying 6.6 for Bull. I just can't do it. It's like his price is almost at his height. Like it's getting there. Like I can't do that. Like good for him. It's great that he's excelling, and bad job Denver. Maybe you should have played him a little bit. Banchero is awesome. You talk about mid tier, like maybe mid to high upper. Like what's between mid tier and extremely high tier? Mid to upper tier? Is that a term?
Yeah, that is. I think he's at that. Like that's a sweet spot for Polo's at a sweet spot. I was ready to cross him off, but his upside is limitless right now. Like he has to be the first guy I think from Orlando, probably the only guy I would consider playing. I don't think Bolo is in play today. Actually, he could be in play today at 5.9. It's not a bad price on FanDuel for it. He still has that upside, especially if he's going to get the minutes.
Yeah, more playable over there on FanDuel. I agree with that.
Definitely, but other than that, to me, it's just Polo Banchero, and that's really it. But he and Polo Banchero will be a priority for me if I'm making if I'm making a mid-tier build. He might be a priority just for the fact of his upside. It's just crazy. I thought he was already at his price point where he should be, but if he can produce on a nightly basis like he has been, he's going to be a 10K player before we even know it. Tell you the truth.
You call him limitless. He's like the Russ Wilson of the NBA. Is that what I'm hearing?
I wouldn't say that. His game has transitioned very nicely to the NBA, and you could tell that he was held back at Duke a lot.
I didn't watch him in college. I know people loved him, but the Duke system is a little restricting, I think, right? That's again, I don't know. I'm ignorant to it, but you probably watched much more. Well, you definitely watched more than I did. But I know that he came in with a lot of promise.
Yeah,
living up to it.
Yeah, he's definitely living up to it beyond it because I didn't think he was going to be this good this early. But apparently you can't really judge a player until they get to the NBA, and now that makes my rookie of the year bet for Jaden Ivey look like crap.
Yeah, I think Banchero is like, I mean, I haven't looked, but feels, I mean, it's basically you're betting on or against him getting injured at this point.
Pretty much. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it's going to be his award. And unfortunately, I had a lot of Evan Mobley shares last year, and guess what? He got injured. That was a bummer.
That was his award to win. But
yeah,
that's a whole nother situation that we don't want to get into.
Good segue, right? I think they're the guy that stole it. Well, I shouldn't say stole it. It was he. What didn't Cunningham end up winning the Rookie of the Year? I think he did, right? He's good too.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't deserve it.
By the way, for the sake of time, you're referencing Fanduel. I'm referencing DK. You want to stick on the Fanduel and I'll stick to DraftKings? I think that works, right?
That works perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just because 15 gamer, going to do our best to knock him out and be as efficient as possible. Whatever we don't get to, and I think we're going to get all 15. We'll touch on to various degrees. We got to Andy and Roth. I'm not sure who else. Who's the third man? Somebody talking tournaments as well. Joining the show, Crunch Time.
TJ, I believe.
TJ. Oh, yeah. TJ's lurking in chat. What's up, TJ? TJ, what's up with the likes? You got to get the likes up. Hit that like button. Subscribe. And turn on those notifications. We appreciate all that. Keeps the lights on. That's why we get the show for free to the people. FanDuel sponsors Crunch Time. Thank you to FanDuel in advance. OKC at Detroit. 233 is the total. Detroit is a 1-point dog here, which that seems a little weird, right? But both teams are terrible, so I guess whatever. Somebody's got to win. Poku's out for OKC. I need like 9 more guys to be out for OKC for me to consider, the fringe players. I can't do it. On OKC, it's SGA. I guess you can consider Giddey. I guess you can consider Dort, but really it's just SGA for me. Do you have how much are you prioritizing Gilgeous-Alexander? Do you like anybody else on OKC? Because I really don't.
I don't. I do not like anyone else on OKC. It's just shy for me, but he's not even a priority. He's like if you're multi-entering, he's an excellent tournament play.
What about the Pistons? Jalen Duran expected to be available in this game. That hits Stewart just a little bit, his direct backup. I like the Cunningham price of 7-7 on DK. That just seems a little bit too cheap. Again, I know you referenced FEV, and I like him too, and you're talking about like the mid to upper tier. Like that feels like a really good price. And you talk about, I want guys that are going to give me like 45 at least. Like a really good shot at 45, and there's 50, 55 potential as well. So that's where I'm looking on Detroit, Cunningham, and I don't know if there's anybody else that really thrills me. Beef stew, Isaiah Stewart, I suppose, kind of, sort of, somewhat, maybe. You tell me. Thoughts as far as the Pistons?
Isaiah Stewart's a great play just because of his salary point at 5'6" on FanDuel. But he should be able to easily get a double-double here and dominate on the boards. There should be no reason besides foul trouble he should be able to get excel in this position and this spot against OKC. I think he's a great tournament play. He definitely has that upside. But like you said, Cade Cunningham, he says 7-7 on DK. It's an excellent price. He's 8-1 over here on FanDuel. He's in play, but you really need him to get that like 45 at that price, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So and it's a good matchup where he can get it for sure. It just concerns me because sometimes the effort isn't all there, in my opinion.
Cunningham's dogging it sometimes? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't say dogging it. It's just there's too many mouths to feed a little bit on there. Like that team, you got Bojan, who that's where we should put mouths to feed because you got Bojan, who's there trying to score, get his buckets. Then you got Ivy's out, I believe, if I'm correct, right? No,
Jaden Ivey?
Yeah,
I believe he's available.
He's available. So you got him trying to get his buckets too and fit into the system, as well as just Sadiq Bey. So it's like it's a lot of these young players, and then Isaiah Stewart's a guy who cleans the glass, so you're not really worried about him much. So it's just, to me, it's a lot of people, a lot of hands in different places. Even though you got Cade Cunningham, trying to dish and pass the ball and get like a triple double instead of being full out aggressive like he was last year.
We got producer Rob in the chat making some I don't want to say call them threats, but right now, if you want the lineup HQ screen on the to stay on there, we got to get 50 likes. Pump out those 50 likes. People like to see the ownership and the projection and all that good stuff.
Yes, indeed. You'll give us a song selection at 75. I see. Let's get that.
In Sync is not on my rep. I mean, I know I got to do bye. I think is that the chalk? What's the chalk for In Sync? Bye. I think so.
I guess bye would be the chalk. Yeah. So we get 75 likes to get Dean to do bye by NSYNC.
It's gonna be me. Is that the same song or a different song?
I don't know if that's the same song.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember, to tell you the truth. And I grew up with that music because that was around my era.
Your lack of NSYNC knowledge is embarrassing, and the company is gonna write you a strongly.
You're saying me?
Email.
I just busted out. I just said bye, and it's gonna be me. And
you asked if they were the same song.
First of all, I don't remember the hooks. I mean, so there's Justin Timberlake. There's Joey Fatone. There is Chris Kirkpatrick who can get his ass kicked. There is Brian. There was Brian. Who's the fifth guy? I mean, come on. I just nailed 4 of the 5 NSYNCers.
You're just naming white guy names is what you're doing right now.
Well, it's just a coincidence. Is there a Chad? I don't know. What did I miss? There's somebody else that Chad's going to let you know who I missed. Do you know who I missed, Andre? Lance Bass.
Oh, yeah, Lance.
There you go. My bad, Lance. All right. It's a good thing it's not a 15. Wait, it is a 15-game slate. We should get back on track, I suppose. We got anything else here as far as Detroit? Anything as far as OKC? We're moving on, right?
I think we're moving on. God, the fact that they're playing Bolo at power forward is crazy to me.
Well, he plays. I think he's depending on the site. Like some sites have him at center, some sites have him at small forward and power forward.
Oh, but I'm talking about on the line just came out. He's starting at power forward today.
Okay, so where do they have Carter and Banchero?
Banchero's at the small forward. Carter's at center.
Okay, yeah.
Weird
Standard lineup. Dennis Smith Jr. game time decision. That's not helpful. That was kind of a worthless update. But thanks for nothing. New Orleans, Indiana. 233 is the total. New Orleans is a 5-point favorite versus Indiana. Indiana is an awesome matchup. They bleed fantasy points. They play fast. They play poor defense. They're certainly worth attacking. The problem I have here, Andre, is that New Orleans is too good and they're too deep, and nobody's hurt. That's my issue, and everybody's kind of priced where they should be priced.
Yeah, that's a big issue right there. It makes it kind of hard to want to play these guys, even though I have a lot of interest in them. Zion should dominate. He should easily play like at 8-3. He should be able to get a double-double here easy in this spot and have 50 to 60 fantasy points, but that's needed. So, like, a guy I probably would target more so than anything would be Brandon Ingram. Come back for second. I think this is the second or third game back from this concussion.
You love Ingram. You would always mention Ingram. He's got a great Fanduel price. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just remember that's one of your guys.
That's my guy, BI. He would be a lot of money. You got to go. But also, he's KD light in my opinion. But I
agree.
He's a go-getter. He's going to score, and he's what I think the leading scorer on this team, if I'm correct. And he's been rebounding the ball well, getting assists well. He's fitting in well with this team, especially even with him being back. So I just like I think the price is great. 7.4 on FanDuel is too cheap. Perfect for that mid-range build. He has that 40 to 50 point upside, maybe even 60. And at that price, that's what you need.
I'm looking at the ownership stuff right now on DK, and this is going to be refreshed several times throughout the day. Zion's 8.6K, and we're looking at about 6% ownership. I think he's the highest ownership. No, Ingram's got 12 to 13%, 8K. As far as Indiana, Miles Turner's got a really good price on DK, 5.7. That's I know his FanDuel price is like almost a 1K more than that, I believe, 6.4 or 6.5 or 6.6, something like that. Halliburton, I talked about this with Grant earlier today in the Scores and Odds show. I was like, I love Halliburton. He's awesome. If this game is close, you have to assume he's doing his thing to keep it close. Mm-hmm. I try not to freak out about matchups too much, but Herb Jones is just one of those. He's I don't want to say lockdown defender. Like he's gonna kind of get his, but I think it hurts Halliburton's ceiling a little bit. What do you think?
Not well. His price on you said what is his price? He's 8.5 on FanDuel.
8.5 DK.
8.5 DK. It can hurt his ceiling, but he's still this game's going to be so fast up pace. it's not. It doesn't even really matter. I would still have him in a pool. Definitely, he's not a priority, but he's someone I definitely want to get in. Like if I'm playing like how I said before about earlier about I guess I forgot what I said earlier, but Tay Rozier, yeah, Tay Rozier. Same thing applies with Halliburton. If I'm running Halliburton in a lineup, I'm running it back with 1 to 2 guys from New Orleans to make it a 1v1 or 1-2 game mini game stack here, because he definitely does have the upside though.
We got Don Yeezy in chat talking about Larry Nance been closing. Yeah, Larry Nance is closing these days over Jonas Valanciunas, and like New Orleans is just like, again, they're a pretty deep team. They're like 10, 11 deep of just good players, which hurts everybody else individually, unless some players are out. And again, they're fully healthy. The matchup's good. Mathurin, we're expecting to draw the start here in Indiana. Indiana, of course, they're without Chris Duarte. He's going to be out for a while. Naismith, unlikely to play as well, so a little bit thin. And Nembhard also, decent chance he sits too. He's got a knee. He's questionable. Again, if this game stays close, Mathurin, rookie, we've seen him. No, he's not shy. He's had several big games this year, just as far as scoring actual points in the bucket. I don't mind him. The bigs outside of Turner, I just really have a hard time being confident in Jalen Smith and his minutes because it's just all over the place. Buddy Hield, I suppose, revenge game can get it. We can get off 5 or 6 threes. That's possible, but not a priority for me. And 6'6" is a little bit more than I want to pay for him. Any of those guys do anything for you? Who popped out most in that? I think it's Mathurin amongst that next.
Oh yeah, definitely Mathurin. He's plays really hard, runs up and down the floor, really active. You like guys like that. If he's going to be playing around 36 minutes, 33 minutes a night, that's a guy I definitely want to have in my lineup. Easy can get you 35 to 40 fantasy points, especially at his price. Probably be one of the guys I'll be looking to play a lot of my lineups.
They're talking some tournaments here in the chat. I'm just curious. Chad, tell me your favorite value play. Well, who's everybody's favorite value play tonight? And is it a Laker? Is it going to be a Laker?
Oh,
it might be. It's probably a Laker. We're not even certain who's going to be starting there, and we won't get that for a while. They only have 10 bodies, I believe. And one of those bodies is Scottie Pippen Jr., right? I think it's a junior, right? Well, it's not the Scottie Pippen. It's a different Scottie Pippen.
It definitely is Scottie Pippen Jr., but there's only one person I'm playing for the Lakers today. Only one guy.
Really?
And he's a lock.
Well, I mean, I assume that's Russ.
Yes.
Do you think Anthony Davis is just going to break himself and never come back from the locker room?
Pretty much. I'm done with this guy. Just trade him. I'm not even a Laker fan, but I'm just telling whoever is a Laker fan, you need to talk to the GM, tell them get whatever they can for that man. What New Orleans did to them was a highway robbery.
Well, he's been tougher this year. We'll talk about it, but he hasn't missed any games. He's played through some pain. You see him taking big falls. He always finds himself in the big falls. I don't know how he does that. Just
he hung on the rim and was hurt. It was hurting and held his back. That's a problem. I remember about that.
And he played last night too, which is not good. Not ideal. I just remember seeing it was a great effort play, diving into the stands in New Orleans, but nobody was in the crowd, so he just jumped through a bunch of chairs. It's just I respect the effort, but let's think short term versus long term. But all right, we'll talk about the Lakers soon enough. I'm trying to see who the favorite value plays are. A lot of Luka love. We'll talk about Luka.
Oh yeah,
soon enough, and
we talked about that pre-show too.
Yeah, he crushes versus everybody, and he's going to face one of the worst defenses in basketball. Ben Simmons are talking about him coming off the bench. It's just weird that they said a 20-minute cap on him. Why even bother? Wait till he gets right. Well, whatever. Again, we'll see. Is that the next game? No, that's not the next game. Phoenix and Philadelphia. That's the next game. 214.5 is the total. We're looking at a 3-point favorite on the Phoenix side. Both these teams play really slow, hence the 214 total. Phoenix, obviously Cam Johnson, he's going to be out for possibly the entire year. Was it a meniscus tear, I believe? He's done so. And Campaign is also questionable with his foot. We have news?
Kyle Kuzma is now listed as questionable with the shoulder.
This is annoying because it's the very first game. And, why is there value coming out? I don't want extreme value in the first game.
I don't know.
And that's late, right? That's dropping right now. They did play yesterday, so maybe something happened to him yesterday and I just didn't see it. or wasn't talked about for whatever reason. Who would maybe Denny Avdia? They have guys like Will Barton, Denny Avdia, Rui Hachimura, but any you have to have? Not sure. Interesting.
You need scoring, so Monte Morris would probably have to step in a little bit.
Yeah.
The hero is now out too. We didn't get to that game yet.
Oh boy, is it Max Strus season possibly?
Jimmy Butler's back. That helps out a lot. I can't even place bets. There's too much news, and the Fanduel closes their books too much when this happens. Goodness gracious!
What are you trying to bet?
I'm putting together some crazy. It's 15 games, so Dean, how I do. $1 million parlays. We trying to get.
Oh no!
Get the money. We trying to get to the bag here.
What's the closest we got? I mean, if you have have you gotten 13 out of 14 or something?
The closest I've ever got.
Well, this season.
Not for basketball. I haven't done really no $1 million parlays for basketball, but recently baseball. I just needed a double from who's the guy from Texas?
Adalis Garcia.
No, who played for the A's before?
Coke? No.
I don't even remember, but he needed a double, and he was bat in the 9th inning, and he didn't get the double. He got a pop fly out, and I would have won $1 million.
Well, it could have been a triple or a homer too. It didn't have to be just a double, right?
It didn't matter. It just it needed to be a double. It needed to be a double.
Oh, Marcus Semien, that's who it was.
Yes, Marcus Semien. It needed to be a double.
Yeah. What notification is that? Who's out now?
No, that was one of my friends telling me to come over to watch Monday Night Football.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Your team's on, right?
You already know.
Oh man, you playing shutouts late?
Nah, not tonight. Because I have too much running around to do.
Gotcha. You guys win? You guys beating Baltimore?
Oh yeah, I've been talking. Can we curse on there? I've been talking shit to my girlfriend. Got it all day today. She's a Baltimore Ravens fan, so we can be going back and forth all day about it.
Oh, that's great. Did you make any bets with her?
Not yet, but I've been trying to tease her, but she's been busy with work all day. So as soon as we get off the air, I'm gonna be trying to get those bets in with her.
All right, back to Phoenix and Philadelphia. I was trying to buy some time to see if we would get some news on Joel Embiid, but he's been out for almost 10 days, at least a week with an illness.
Yeah.
I believe he was at practice, at least parts of practice. We'll see. Do you think if he plays that maybe they don't play him for 38 minutes, he plays 32, 33, you think his minutes get hit a little bit? Or you think he doesn't play at all?
I think he plays. He had he was a full participant in practice before he wasn't a full participant. So I like that updated for him, but I don't think that he's needed on the slate. Phoenix is a tough matchup. DeAndre Ayton can guard him, so I wouldn't prioritize him. To me, I have no extra guys from Philly in my player pool at all today. I just think Tyreke Maxey, he's at a price point of $8K, which he can't have an upside and ceiling game, but that's what you need from him at that price and on this particular type of slate. And with the way that Phoenix plays defense a little bit, along with Joel Embiid being back, I don't see that upside happening for him today.
All right. As far as the Phoenix side, so
it's only one guy I want to go with on Phoenix side. Sorry.
I don't know. Let me guess who it is because
it's only one person who has that upside.
Okay, so when you say that, I assume you want Booker.
Yes.
But Chris Paul can give you one of those weird triple doubles, like a 12, 10, 11. He could do something like that. But Bridges on FanDuel every once in a while he has those stock games, but you really can't predict that. And he's 6'1", fully priced. That's DK. And I thought was thinking Torrey Craig is kind of sort of someone interesting because he's stepping up in the absence of. They have other guys, but especially if Payne is out. I mean, they have Shamet, Damian Lee, Dario Saric is back. It's just another body. Revenge game for him against Philadelphia.
Saric could be interesting if he's going to be playing more minutes because I know he was out all last year for that injury for his ACL, if I'm correct. If he plays a lot of more minutes, then he can be at his price of 3.3 and 3.7. But he played 21 minutes last game, so
I don't know if he can get much more than that. And I think was that a blowout? I think it was a blowout.
Okay.
I think he got some garbage time run.
Okay, but that's encouraging to see that he played 24 minutes. It has because this was 25. So I would, if you can't predict it, I would stay away from it, but I would pay attention for that more so for future slates. If Sarge is getting a lot of minutes, that's going to be very helpful.
Yeah, not tonight. We can't play like the 11th guy or the 10th guy in the Suns on a 15-game slate. I don't think you can do that.
No.
But I think Torrey Craig theoretically is like in play if he starts. And I like him a little bit more if campaign sits. I can see him playing about 30 minutes or so, but not a priority.
Yeah, not even in my player pool.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not excited to play. Craig was one of those guys I liked last night, and maybe he's probably should be following as the day, as value opens up and he's not getting any better. Yeah, I suppose I probably shouldn't have him. 4K on DK though is a pretty good price, but he's also one of those guys you said you want everybody's got a chance to get 40, 45. I don't think he's got a chance to get 45.
No, definitely not. I wouldn't even. Yeah, he's not even on the list.
We got anything else here? Or moving on.
Let's move on.
We got next up Milwaukee versus Atlanta. 226 is the total. Atlanta is a 4-point underdog here versus the Bucks. Trae Young, he had a couple days ago, he had that eye and he was questionable. He played, and then the eye injury went to his shin. Now he's questionable with his shin. As far as Milwaukee, it's a miracle Giannis Antetokounmpo is healed from his one-game injury, fake injury. With his knee, he is back. Everybody's back for Milwaukee. Of course, there's no Chris Middleton. He hasn't been there all season long. Same deal with Jingle and Joe Ingles and Pat Connaughton. Giannis, the conversation kind of is like, how do you compare him against, Luka, like as far as his contemporaries? Jokic to some degree as well, probably Luka more so. But if you like Luka, it's really hard to pay both of them. So I assume you like Giannis, but you're probably not prioritizing him because salary's a thing.
I mean, yeah, it's see, this thing can go one of two ways. It can go either completely balanced slate where you have everyone in a mid tier, no more than probably 9K for a player, and they all give you 50 to 60 fantasy points, maybe some 45s or 40s. Or it can be like where you need stars and scrubs and you need a guy like Giannis. Giannis can definitely break the slate against Atlanta. That is a strong. It is a possibility, but I just don't think it will happen personally. So I would I would be a little bit lower on him, but he is definitely still in play for sure. And that's probably the only person I would be able to get to. Maybe Bobby Portis a little bit because his price is 5'9" and it's a favorable one. But Drew Holiday, the likelihood of him having an upside game here with Giannis in play is not that high.
I like Holiday. The price has come up on him a little bit. What if Young is in? How do you feel about Young? And if Young is out, do we elevate? Who do we elevate? I guess DeJounte Murray would get more responsibility.
Yeah.
Who would grab those minutes? Would anybody get like extended minute run that we can get excited about, or not really? Like, I'm just trying to think. One of both Holiday brothers possibly, but they're again. I can't imagine that.
There's no one I would even probably play consider from Atlanta, even with him being out. I would just probably wanted at that point maybe try to put more emphasis on Murray.
Yeah.
Just because if Bogdan was back, then yes, but otherwise no.
Yeah. I think he's coming back soon. Not tonight, obviously. You mentioned Portis. He's really hard to play on DK at 6'9". That's not nice. That's not a nice price for Bobby Portis. It's just they're really proactive after. I mean, he smashed last game when Giannis didn't play, and they had an overreaction as far as the price.
Yeah, he's 5'9" on Fanduel, so that's a great price. Giannis, see, it's gonna be tough because Giannis. What I would do if anyone's playing tonight, make two line. If you're playing like at least one, make two. Maybe run one balance lineup and one stars and scrubs, where you can try to fit Giannis and Luka in because Giannis games against Atlanta the past couple of years have been crazy.
Just noteworthy as far as Capella, like we've seen him basically chopping minutes, the center minutes with Okongwu this year. He gets the bigger piece of the pie, but it's not as much as it has been in years past. But he did see his best game of the year last time out with 35 minutes. Just was nice to see that he can do it. It's still in his bag. He's still capable of doing it. He put up a 21-19 and like 5 stocks, 4 blocks. And he's 5'5" on DK and Fanduel. Like he's the guy that can put up 40, 45 at 5'5". He also can get 2 quick fouls, and then Kungwu can go in there and do his thing also. So, but you're playing tournaments, you're shooting for the top. I think he's at least in the pool. You think he's in the pool?
He's not in my pool only because I just can't see it. The splitting minutes bothers me, and then the foul trouble instance bothers me as well too. So I don't want to risk that. I'll let him beat me tonight if that happens. Personally, that's how I feel.
I'm trying to think. Are we gonna get to this game next? Pivoting over. Sorry, I lost track of my.
We're Miami and Portland.
Yeah. So Miami is hosting a game that starts 8:30. Like every one of these games, again, if you guys are joining us now, hey, hit that like button and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know we go live. 15-minute increments. East Coast game starting at 8:30, but it's perfect. They gave Miami like the latest East Coast game because that's when the crowd shows up. 8:30.
Exactly. Well, you gotta go to South Beach. You gotta party a little bit.
217.5 is the total here. Miami versus Portland. It is a 6-point line. Getting the news just now or a few minutes ago that Tyler Hero is officially out. Jimmy Butler is back from his hip. He's expected to play. No Yurtseven, no Oladipo. Those guys have not played all season long. Nikola Jovic is available with his nose, but I don't know how much he'll play, but apparently he's available. Portland, revenge game for Winslow, expected to play with his ankle. Lillard ruled in today with his calf. And Anthony Simons is questionable with his foot. If he doesn't go, so first thing is Lillard first game back in 10, 15 days. Do you think he's a full go? He could play 38 minutes? Is that possible?
It is very possible, but I still probably I have no priority with Lillard today as far as in the guard spot. I should probably, but I just can't see it. I was trying to see if I can how in a way I can play him today, but I don't think that he's someone I can get to just because there's other guys that I do like a little bit more than Lillard today.
Anthony Gill will play off the bench for Washington. I know he wasn't feeling well yesterday, so maybe he's an emergency guy. You're not rostering Anthony Gill. Just maybe he's a guy that possibly plays 0 minutes. We'll see. Stay tuned. Or maybe he's going to get someone off the bench. You never know. If Simons is in, it's hard to really love anybody in Portland. But I think Lillard's kind of interesting. Miami does yield 3-pointers. That's one of their vulnerabilities defensively. Good defensive team overall historically. Good individual players, but they will give up threes, and Lillard can make threes, obviously. With Hero being out, man, I assume Max Strus jumps in the starting lineup. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, probably. It's definitely. Yeah, because that's who was starting last year, so they probably just do the same thing. That makes sense.
Do we like Max Strus? He's about as expensive as Max Strus has been, right? You're at the mercy of his threes.
Yeah, and I'm not playing that guy tonight. It's too big of a slate to mess with that. And the game's not up pace enough for me. Only 217 total too.
Do we elevate Bam and Jimmy enough to make them priorities, or Lowry too?
I wouldn't say priorities, but definitely in the pool. I don't know about. I my priority only was Jimmy, but I'm thinking maybe Lowry might end up becoming a priority. Maybe not a priority, but someone we want to play a little bit, just a little bit, because he's looked better this year than he has last year. But I don't know how long it's gonna last. He's a little bit of an older guy. So
37.
Yeah. So how long is that gonna last for him? And plus he's at 6'7". That's the only problem. So I'd rather get Jimmy, who I know is not gonna. Now that we know that Tyler Hero's out, that's one less ball handler, more usage, and more shots to go around. Jimmy Butler's going to probably have the ball in his hands a lot more. So even though you have Kyle Lowry still there, he's probably going to be the secondary ball handler behind Kyle. So I would probably prioritize more so Jimmy on this team than anybody else.
Yeah, I didn't like the Lowry price. He's kind of worked his way up as far as his price. He came out of the gate this season kind of sputtering, and we got him really cheap. You can buy low earlier in the season, but yeah, okay, a little bit more usage his way, a little bit more responsibility with the absence of Hero, but we're also kind of paying basically the most he's been 6'5". You said 6'7" on FanDuel. That's the most he's been all season long, I believe.
Yeah.
Again, not saying you can't play him, but some of the luster. It is just weird that Hero an important player, one of their biggest shooters out, and we're not like jumping off the table at anybody. Like they're kind of fine. Butler's fine, Bam's fine, Lowry's fine. I guess you could play Strus, but nothing we really feel like we have to have, right?
No, only person I would probably, like I said, prioritize is just Jimmy from this whole game. Probably just Jimmy. Like I don't like on Portland even side. Like that's not really anyone I really am interested in. I like look at my playing pool right now. I don't have a single guy from Portland. I think it's just more so the pace is just too slow, and the only reason why I wouldn't go with anyone from that side, from the Portland side, is because limited price at 8.5. He has to have. At that price, he needs to give me 50, 55. And we know he's capable of doing that, definitely. But on the first game back, I'm not going to trust it.
I assume if he's back, he's back. I think that's like he's got the he's not going to have limitations, and he can play up to like 36, 37 minutes if needed.
Yeah, true. But he has to get hot from three. He's a streaky player. As far as when he's hot and he goes on these rolls that where he just is scoring the ball at an unbelievable clip. I don't think that's happening in starting tonight, at least. I could be wrong. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, I can't see that happening.
When did Portland fly in? Were they hanging out last night in South Beach? They get the South Beach flu, having themselves a good time?
Could do that. Definitely.
I don't know when they got in. They didn't play yesterday, right? I don't think.
Actually, did they play yesterday?
No.
Let me check. No, they did. They played the day before that.
Toronto against Chicago. 221 is the total. Toronto is a 2-point dog here. Big deal in Toronto. Really condensed lineup, and they're without their top player, Pascal Siakam. Birch also not available for what it's worth. Not a lot, but just throwing it out there. So all season long, we've seen Christian Koloko be just like the nominal starter, and then he plays in so many minutes, and then he gets kicked off the court, never to see it again. And like Precious Achiuwa just drives, right? Last night, same opponent against Chicago. I don't know if you saw the video clip of his defensive highlights last night, 6 or 7 blocks. He was all over the place, and he was playing well, and he was rewarded with more minutes and played 30 minutes or so, and he's still crazy cheap. Now, I don't know if that's going to repeat. I don't know if he's going to have all the stocks he had last night, but just interesting to note, and it clearly hurt the likes of Precious Achiuwa. Boucher as well took a hit as far as minutes or less than anticipated. And then we talked about FEV earlier. We'll talk about that first. As a cheapie, potentially, it's probably unnecessary, but theoretically, it could be a pretty strong play.
Oh, that is a strong play. He's too cheap for his price, for his upside, especially with them leading the scoring of Siakam since he's out. So I like him a lot. He's close to a lock for me. He's
really.
Yeah, 7. He's 7-1, I believe. 7-2 on FanDuel. Fred VanVleet is too cheap.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Koloko. I'm sorry.
Koloko. No, I'm not messing with that nonsense.
You didn't hear me talk about Koloko for 30 to 37 seconds.
No, you were. I heard you talk about Koloko, but then you said let's go. But then you mentioned Fred, and then you said let's start with that.
Yeah, that's on me. Bad job by me. I threw both names out there, but yeah, that's my bad. I love Freddie as well. He's your favorite player on Toronto?
Definitely favorite player on Toronto. I can't go with Koloko. I'm not Koloko, so no. Everyone remember that want no. Those guys, I'm not messing with that front court on this type of slate. You can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I just want to monitor. I want to see what going forward. I'm curious how that situation is going to unfold, but he was a defensive force last night for what it's worth. Gary Trent got benched because I don't know the specific reason, but I imagine I was looking at the box score we were talking about last night in the morning grind. He was a minus 25 in 20 minutes, which seems like a problem. Yeah, so we'll see. He's still pretty cheap. Scotty Barnes, his minutes, as long as he's not hitting the locker room for injury issues, 35, 36, 37, possibly up to 40 minutes. OG Anunoby, same deal. OG Anunoby is one of those guys. He can really get going on FanDuel. He has those stock nights when he hits 6 or 7 or 8 stocks. Great defender. So, that's a lot of times that's what wins tournaments on FanDuel. You just catch the guy that has, 6 or 7 stocks.
Yep.
And OG can be that guy for sure.
Yeah, he's been insane lately. So that's my second favorite player from Toronto.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because Toronto feels good. Pascal being out, FEV, Barnes, OG, Trent. I'm a little bit. I can't assume we're just going to bench him and maybe he bounces back and he's pretty cheap. We're projecting 36 minutes for what it's worth, and our projection team didn't really know what to do with Koloko. They gave him 22 minutes, but he could play 30 and it wouldn't shock me, and he could play 18 and it wouldn't shock me. That's a tricky one. But again, 15-game slate, I don't know if you have to necessarily answer that. Same thing with Precious. Like, I'm just not going there. If Precious plays 30 minutes off the bench and kicks Koloko off the court, so be it. And even then, like, he's not a guaranteed 40 points or 35 points. How about the Bulls? A little surprising. Levine, I don't know what's surprising or not, but he rested yesterday and under the assumption that he would play today with his injury management, but now he's questionable. Drummond is not expected to play with his shoulder. Kobe White is out with his quad. We saw Caruso was awesome yesterday. I don't think I would consider playing him, even if Levine sits. I don't know if I'm chasing that. As far as the Bulls, DeRozan was terrible last night, and I think it's because Toronto was just doubling him. They are very, very active as far as doubling him, and he couldn't shoot. He barely had any shots.
They know better because they knew that was smart of them, because if they didn't double him, every time he plays Toronto, he wants to scorch the earth against Toronto. So
did they do him wrong?
DeMar?
Oh yeah, they traded him to San Antonio. What is that?
San Antonio. Did they do him wrong?
I couldn't remember if he left as a free agent or if he was like traded.
No, they did him dirty.
Yeah, and they won a title without him. That's right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think if Zach LaVine is in, I think that DeMar will become more of a better play, because you don't have to worry about that double team, because you got to worry about Zach too. You got to pick your poison, what you're going to do. So I like these guys for tournaments. I would play Zach or DeMar. They're at a nice little price where they have that upside for obviously 60. DeMar is 7.9 and Zach at 7K. And I'm just running it back with Fred or Scotty or OG on the other side, or maybe even two of them.
All right. Anything else of note as far as this game? Do you think Levine plays?
Yes, he should play. Just no reason why he shouldn't. So I think he does, but hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays, then Chicago is basically a cross-off for me. Patrick Williams has been more aggressive of late. I'll give him that. I don't know how usable he is tonight, but maybe on a different slate. He's still pretty cheap, but I don't think I'm going there. That seems unlikely. Anything else that's worth noting, or shall we move on?
We can move on. We're going at a good pace here.
Are we doing well as far as time? Like the crunch time crew comes in about 30 minutes or so. You got Andy Means, you got TJ, you got Roth taking you all straight up the lock. Roth, of course. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we're 8 games down. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got 35, 40 minutes. Jesus. So we're doing well. We sidetracked the show. We talked a little in sync at one point.
Get those likes up. We want you to think. How many likes do we have right now?
I don't know, but not enough for me to sing and sing horribly. I can't sing. I don't have that ability. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
I don't even know what my go. I have to think about that. I might have one.
Enrique Iglesias, Hero is my go-to.
Really?
Yes.
Can you give us like a tease, a taste?
We don't have enough likes for that. Come on.
Well, you could give away my NSYNC, but Enrique's
no. We need 75 for you to sing. We need 175.
I did not sign anything for that. I did not agree.
I would like to tell you to check your contract and see the power that I wield now.
Check out the fine print. Boston and Memphis, 231 is the total. Boston is a 3.5-point favorite. Andre, theoretically, the game is high, the game is tight. We should like this game. Boston, though, is fully healthy with what they have this year. Obviously, Robert Williams hasn't played basketball all season long. Al Horford's back from his fake back injury. Memphis, Steven Adams is questionable with his ankle. If he doesn't go, maybe a Brandon Clark could be kind of sort of someone interesting. They might dust off Tillman for a few more minutes, but I don't know if one person necessarily rises. I don't like this game as much as I probably should. It's a good MME game, though, I think, because there's certainly some good, obviously John Morant and Tatum are fabulous tournament plays always, but they're not getting ownership. They're getting like less than 5%. And I think that makes sense, but for sure they can break the slate.
They definitely can, and that's what concerns me. But this, to me, is strictly just a game stack situation. I'm running Boston. I'm running Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That's it from Boston. And from Memphis, it would just be I don't even know if I would play John Morant because I think that Boston has enough wing players where they can play good defense on him, and I would just probably try to maybe get a Desmond Bane in here if that's really about it. John definitely does have the upside though, and that concerns me not prioritizing him and playing him. But I think this thing, like I said, is big enough, and there's another guy at that position of the point guard that I really want to target and get a lot of exposure to.
On DK, projected ownership, nobody getting more than 6% as of right now. That's Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench, who's like perfectly fine, but is Brogdon going to break the slate? Unlikely. Desmond Bane getting less than 5% as well. Jaylen Brown at 5%. Yeah, John and Tatum they're great, but they just don't make a ton of sense when everybody else is playing, when they're what their salary's at. I don't really have a lot to say here. If Adams sits, how much do we like Brandon Clark? Like, assuming he starts.
He's not going to play enough minutes. That's the only problem. Like, even we go back to last year, if I'm correct, when Adams didn't play, Brandon Clark did not get a lot of minutes. I don't know why. They sign him to like an extension, and they still don't play this guy a lot. He's a point per minute monster.
Well, they had Triple J last year, though, right?
Yeah, but I think there's times even without Triple J was in there, and he still didn't get all the minutes. Like it's kind of annoying, honestly, because Brandon Clark, if he's played a lot more minutes, he'd be a lot more valuable, in my opinion. But at 4-2, you can take that chance, I guess. But especially if you get the news that Steven Adams is out, but I personally wouldn't do it.
And Steven Adams is like a ridiculously tough dude. Like, he plays through everything.
This man gets punched in the gut when he misses a free throw by his coach. So, yeah, I'm not – he's playing tonight.
Well, what happened? He got punched? I didn't see this.
There was a highlight video going around where he was like, yeah, if I miss a free throw, punch me in my stomach or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not a good free throw shooter. I remember Draymond kicked him in the nuts. You remember that many years ago?
Yeah, who hasn't he kicked in the nuts?
I mean, who hasn't been there? We've all been kicked in the nuts by Draymond at some. I ran into him in the supermarket. I'm trying to think. You ever see that when he picked? I can't remember who it was. He picked up there was a kerfuffle, a fight of some sort, and he picked some dude up. It's like picked him up like a 7-footer, just moved him. I can't remember who it was.
Like it's nothing. I don't remember who it was either, but he's just freakishly strong. Probably the strongest guy in the NBA.
He might be. Yeah. Who else will be in that conversation? I feel like Nurkic probably has like insane strength. He just looks like a guy that's like super strong. But anyways, we're moving on. Yes.
Yes.
So one of the chalkier plays is in this game upcoming as I jump to it and buy some time and say some words. I think this is one of the more popular games. Talk about high and tight. Minnesota at home versus New York. 235.5 is a total. It's a big boy total. And New York is just a 3-point favorite. We also have some missing body parts. The centers on both teams. Mitrov unavailable. He's out with his knee. Hartenstein played a pile of minutes, like 36, 37 or so last game, stepping into the starting lineup. And, of course, the other side, Rudy Gobert, is out with health protocols. Cat, we're expecting to jump up and play the 5. Coach there in Minnesota is a big liar. He told us, so we're going to have to start – who would they say they're going to start? We're going to start either Naz Reid or Tareem Prince in the absence of Rudy Gobert. And it was door number 3. It was Kyle Anderson through the start. So because the Knicks, their opponent, was in the locker room like game planning for hours for Naz Reid and Tareem Prince. And they got him. I hate when coaches do this. But yeah, we're expecting Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, who looked really, really good. He's one of the cheapies that's kind of jumping off the board. But I think one of the biggest salary savers is Isaiah Hartenstein, 5.2K on DK. I want to say it's like 5.5 on Fanduel. They're going to need a size here against Minnesota, against Cat, and Naz Reid as well, who I presume is going to play some backup 5. What are your thoughts as far as this game in general? And do you agree that Hartenstein is one of the better value plays in the entire slate?
Hartenstein is definitely, especially when it's a weak front line, when you're going to have Cat probably play center, and then you're going to have what's his name play and Kyle Anderson playing the power forward position, small forward position, whatever you want to call it. So Hartenstein, I think, is a good value. So is Kyle Anderson. Those are the two guys that I would definitely want to make sure I get in my lineups for sure. This whole game is just interesting to me, though. Definitely more of a game stack perspective for it, for sure, especially with the total being 235, like you said. Anthony Edwards is an excellent play at 8K. He's another one of those guys that could easily go off and have a big game. Karl Anthony Towns, but at that 9.6K price, he needs to have a monster game. 50 is not enough. We need like 60. So he can definitely get it, but how often does he get it? That's the question for me. So I'm not playing a guy like D'Lo on the slate tonight. I think that's unnecessary. He doesn't.
Agreed.
He doesn't do it. And you can even go with a guy like Torian Prince, possibly, if you want some more salary savers, just because the Knicks can turn the ball over at times a lot. So other than that, that's really it. But mainly, if I really had to say from this whole game, it'd be Edwards, Towns, and Kyle Anderson. The Knicks side, I like Hartenstein a lot. He's a priority. RJ Barrett's still too cheap. And Julius Randle scares me. He scares the living hell out of me, but he's in play.
And the price is dropping on FanDuel, right?
He's 7-2, so I think it's the same. I think it's remaining the same. Oh, yeah, it's still dropping. Yeah, it is dropping. And, yeah, his last two games were good games, but still scares the hell out of me.
Don Yuzi in chat's talking about he thinks that Nas is going to start, and we'll see. Maybe. It would shock me. I just did a court IQ on it. This season, Cat and Nas have played like 23 minutes together total. Last year, 108. Well, dating back to 108 total minutes. Not a lot. Obviously, that they don't cross over a lot. But, possible. It's happened before. I got a good nugget in this game. You ready for it?
Uh-huh.
So as far as three-pointers made, giving up three-pointers defensively, the team that gives the most three-pointers in the entire league, I don't know which one's which, to be honest, but the top two teams that give up three-pointers, that yield the most three-pointers in the NBA this season so far, it's the Knicks and the Timberwolves.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So three-pointers are going to be fired away in this game for sure. If there's positive variance, if they're going in, we could be looking at 138, 132, something like that. You never know. It could get really squirrely. Now, if they're missing them, a little bit lower score. We got anything else here that's worth focusing on, or shall we move on?
I think we can move on.
Denver Spurs 234.5 is the total. Denver is an 8-point favorite in this game. Denver is fully healthy. I'm saying fully healthy. Ish Smith is doubtful. Who cares? As far as San Antonio, they're without a couple fringe pieces. Romeo Langford's not playing basketball. Same deal with Zach Collins. Are we expecting Devin Vassell to start tonight? We're projecting him not to start as of right now, huh? He's been on kind of his 25-minute cap these last couple games, like coming off the bench. But if he starts, I think it becomes kind of interesting. I guess we should start with Jokic. And I saw somebody in the chat asking about Jamal Murray, and I think Jamal Murray's too cheap. And, his minutes got cut last game because it was an extreme blowout. But I like Murray, whoever was asking. I think, and especially on FanDuel, where is he, 5'9" over there or 5'7"? What's his price on FanDuel?
He is 5'9". He is too cheap.
He's almost at, like, his normal minutes. Like, he's –
Yeah.
And the matchup against San Antonio is really good, too. Talk about Murray, the Nuggets, Jokic, who's amazing, but hasn't been as good as he was in last year, because last year he was just absurd and ludicrous. Whatever adjective you want to think of. Go to Denver first, if you don't mind.
Denver is all like DeJounte. We know Jamal Murray still has his upside, so he would be the only guy that I really would have more of a high priority of interest in. I don't want to play Nikola Jokic at all today. 10-7 is an expensive price. He has to get 60, 70. And on this slate, the 40's not doing it. Granted, they can still blow him out and like they did last night. But this whole season, like you said before, he hasn't really been putting up those monster Jokic games like he was last year. And I think that's just because the help is back for him with Jamal Murray and with Michael Porter Jr. So with that, taking away more usage away from him, getting the ball a little bit more out of his hands, I would stay away from this spot, especially because it might also be a blowout like you mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, 1.75 fantasy points per minute dating back to last season. That's completely insane, obviously. This year, I think I can pull it up here in the Court IQ one. It's like 154, which is really, really good. But, it's not as good as he was at this, life is about expectations, right?
Yes.
And our expectations they're too high probably. But like I think Giannis is putting up more fantasy points per minute. Luka is putting up more fantasy points per minute. 1.54 DK, 1.51 on Fanduel, which is good. And he's a little bit cheaper than those guys. Like he's in the pool for me. I wouldn't cross him out. But I think he's not as the priority as he was last year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Spurs.
The Spurs are coming. I don't have no one from San Antonio. Not a single person playing from San Antonio today.
Alan in chat, add me to live chat. Well, is there another live chat I'm not aware of? You're in live chat, Alan, I believe. And Alan's saying I won $30K. That's $30,000? Congrats. What'd you win? What tournament?
Yeah, what tournament? Let's do it again.
Yeah, take it down. TJ is talking about 100 likes, and Ish Smith kicks me in the nuts. Why would Ish Smith kick me? Is he known for kicking people in the nuts too? Ish?
I have no idea.
I don't recall. But he also threatened to have Draymond kick me in the nuts too. But does he know a guy? Like he's got Draymond on call. Don Easy's asking about Bones, not the TV series, but Bones Highlands. Problem with Bones is like, he was great last game, but that's because it was an extreme blowout, right? He crushed in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
18 minutes is projection. Like, of course he can get like 24, 25 if something weird happens, but it's a 15-game slate, man. I can't prioritize Bones Highland. Can you?
No.
Yeah.
Not doing it today.
Try again tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. They're not playing. I don't know if they're playing Wednesday. Wednesday's an insane slate as well. I don't think it's all 15 games. So it's probably like 12 or so. When are we getting these slates like the 7, 6, 8? When is that coming back, Andre? We need those.
Probably next week.
Hopefully. All right. How many more games do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. We got to pick up the pace. Our usage has to stumble just a little bit because we got 4 games and about 15 minutes till the crunch time crew comes in. You got Kevin Roth leading that crew. Andy Means. You guys are playing cash games. Andy is going to walk you through cash games and really, it's not going to flat out build them for you, but if you can pay attention and use like deductive reasoning, it's basically going to give you the lineup. Just pay attention. It's worth watching. And then you got TJ jumping in with his tournament takes as well. Brooklyn versus Dallas. Luka Doncic has been absolutely insane this year. Good matchup here against Brooklyn, but 216.5 is the total in this game. More so probably because Dallas plays really slow, pretty good defensive team. That's sort of the hit on Durant. Durant's the main guy here now at this point as far as Brooklyn, and we're expecting Simmons to be available and come off the bench and play 20 minutes, which all that just sounds weird to me, but that's where we're at. Is it worth digging into the fringe pieces?
No.
On Brooklyn? No.
Let's just get to it, Dean. Like, there's only 2 plays from this game at all on this only, and then 1 from each side, and they both are probably close to locks. Luka Doncic is a lock. Like, he is going to destroy this team. It's probably going to be a 30 to maybe a 40-point triple-double. If you could bet that, I would bet it. I don't know if you can, though. But
you can bet that.
You can bet a triple-double. I don't know if you can bet like a 30 or 40-point triple-double. But I think he's a lock. He's the best. To me, he's the best player on the slate. He's coming in at single-digit ownership. Granted, it's a high price to pay for him, but he might get 70, 80 on the slate, and I wouldn't be surprised because the stocks count as well.
He's got to get 70.
True, but the stocks also count too, so that's the thing too. Like, I can see it happening. I wouldn't be surprised. Only fringe piece I might want to get into a little bit, and that's because he's been playing well, is Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
I mentioned it the day. I don't know if we were on the show, but the day we talked about it.
We talked about it.
He played, and I didn't play him because I got nervous and I wasn't sure. My person never got back to me on time. I had a good game. I could have, and I was all the way in 16th place.
Did you play Kevin Love that night? You loved Kevin Love.
I played everybody I talked about that night in the same lineup, and I was all the way in 16 plays. And if I would have played Cam Thomas, I would have took down, was it 50 or 100K that night? Sick. I just
Love was an incredible play. He was like, he did every, he was, I don't know what his line was, like close to a triple-double in like 24 minutes.
Yeah,
He was outstanding.
He had like 35 fantasy points at halftime, stuff like that.
Don Yeezy wants to know if I think the Spurs get blown out tonight. Probably not. Like, what's blown out? No. I mean, I think they're within 10. What are they, like 5 or 6 point dogs? I think a game stays relatively close, but I don't know.
They could stay close. And yeah, but that's it. But let's try to move on to the next game because we got 4 minutes.
No. We got 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we got to talk. Do you want to just jump to the Laker game? We should prioritize that, right? Actually, yeah. Let's talk about the Lakers.
I mean, to me, it's simple, but I guess other people are going to want to play these other plays. So
well, I mean, do it. They got to have 5 guys on the court, right?
Yeah, they have to. They have to. So
yeah, let's run that one down. The Lakers are playing Utah. That game is at 10:15. 227 is the total. They're 6-point dogs here in Utah. Utah, historically, a pretty tough place to play. No LeBron James. That's the big one, obviously. Not just LeBron, though, but Pat Bev is out with his illness. Demolition Man Dennis Schroeder hasn't played a game the entire season. No Lonnie Walker. So tons of usage, tons of minutes to go around. Like we said, 10 bodies. And amongst these 10 bodies, we're talking about Scottie Pippen, Max Christie, like Damian Jones, like the backup 5, basically. It's thin. Juan Toscano Anderson, like Waylon Gabriel, Matt Ryan, who may start. There's no depth in this team. It's bad. So I presume Russ, who's been crushing, all coming off the bench, I presume he's going to start because he kind of sort of has to start now. And then, as long as this game stays close, Anthony Davis and Russ should be doing their thing. Nunn is probably the best value play on this team. Like, ownership is reflecting that. We're projecting him to start. Even if he doesn't start, I think you can still play him. Same deal with Austin Reeves. Same deal with Troy Brown to lesser extent. And if Matt Ryan starts, I think he's in play. But I don't know how many Lakers is too many Lakers. Again, if you're running optimals, it's going to give you several. You said only one. Who's the one you want? It's Russ, right?
Russell Westbrook is another lock of the slate, in my opinion. You have to play this guy. Like, no one besides AD, and AD probably is going to be out. Like, I think he's probably. It's about a 75% chance AD is out. I'm being nice.
You mean he gets hurt at some point throughout the game?
Oh, he probably will too. I wouldn't be surprised. He goes to locker room. And we have they should make that a bet. And over under how many times Anthony Davis has to go to the locker room.
Smash the over.
He's going to the locker room, but he might not even play tonight and make it into the arena to just play. But Russell Westbrook to me is a lock. 6'7" is too cheap for this type of position that he's about to be in. He's going to be the old Russell Westbrook before. He's probably going to get a triple-double. He's going to have to do all the scoring. I am not on Troy Brown at all. I recommend not playing that. I don't think that I get the value at 4.2K on Fanduel. It's probably about the same, maybe even cheaper on DK. But the usage is not going to be there for him. This is not the Troy Brown when he was on Washington Wizards and he was by himself because Bradley Beal was out and he was just crushing. This is not that same Troy Brown. There's other guys here that could easily put up points there and do what he does. So I just think Russell Westbrook is the best play by far.
I think our projection's a little bit hot in Troy Brown. Like, we're assuming he starts. We're giving him like 28 fantasy points at 3 point. Like, I know why he's popping. And like none were giving him like 25 fantasy points. He's still minimum DK 3K. Mm-hmm. Like, that's hard not to play. I mean, I'm not saying hard not to play, but and here's the thing. You know how it works, Andre. Like, on certain nights, if you can find somebody who's 3K that's going to give you 20 points, it's useful.
Yes.
If none gives me 20 points, like no more, no less, even though it's kind of worthless, it doesn't kill me, but I wouldn't call that useful. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it's very fair.
Yeah. How many Lakers are in the final winning lineup, the GP winning lineup tonight? You're saying one?
One. Russell Westbrook.
The line's 1.5. Yeah, I don't know. I think I saw TJ. He'll be on soon enough. He was talking in chat. TJ says he's got a lineup he likes with 4 Lakers and no runbacks as far as Utah.
Good luck.
I think I would cap it at 3. If I was MMAing, I'm not, but if I was, I think I would cut it at 3 Lakers. I wouldn't run 4. And it sounds like you're stopping it at 1.
I'm stopping it at 1. I'm not going past that. Like, that's it for me.
But if Russ is doing his thing, and he's not a guy that's going to score 35 points, he's going to distribute a ton. Like, he's getting a bunch of assists, and all these guys that are scoring are cheap.
Even when because even when he was on OKC, who else stood out that was on a lot of the winning lineups without him? No one. Yeah,
trying to think.
Exactly. You got to think about it. It's too hard.
Who was on those OKC teams? I'm drawing a blank. Well, he played with Paul George, right?
Yeah, but that was the year before Paul George. Even back then, he didn't. No one else really just ate. No one really else got any like useful fantasy games besides him. So, to me, I don't think he's a play. That's just me though. Oh,
how about Utah? You have a run back on Utah. Like Markkanen's been fabulous. Now he's kind of priced up, but he's still been good. The Lakers have been weird this year. Just their extremes. They have been the fastest team in basketball. The Lakers. Their offense is the worst team. The worst offense in basketball. The fastest team in basketball, and their defense is top 5, 5th best defense. So, and they're really bad or really good at some things.
They will not be top 5 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Say that right now.
I agree with that. Kendrick Nunn is not going to. He doesn't play lockdown defense. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, definitely not.
You remember him on our Heat, right? He had a couple nights for Miami, but
a couple.
Yeah, he was all over the place. We got 2 more before the crunch time crew comes knocking the door. 234.5 is the total between Sacramento and Golden State. Golden State is an 8-point favorite. Everybody's back for Golden State. All the fake injuries they had, they're all healed. Just want to note, Sacramento gives up the least amount of 3-point attempts. So, and everything comes inside. And that's probably why Domantas Sabonis gets in foul trouble all the time, because he's not a great rim protector and he's just fouling people. But this game suggests, especially when it stays close, like it should be fun. But Sacramento does a pretty good job of like subduing threes, and of course that's what Golden State does. But what do you got as far as Kings Warriors? I'm a little low in this game and a little bit concerned about it.
Kings Warriors. I can run through this very fast. I don't think I have anyone I have 2 people from Sacramento, Sabonis and Harrison Barnes, because Harrison Barnes is too cheap and he can easily have a good game here. Sabonis, I'd like his price, but I'm probably not concerned. Not going to really get to him that much. Probably a better DK play just because of the double there on there. And Golden State, Draymond kind of interests me, just even at 5'8", just more so because he can easily have a 40 fantasy point game. Steph Curry interests me a little bit just because we know what he can do, and Klay Thompson, 5.5K is disrespectful, and it's Sacramento.
I just told you Sacramento that's the worst team to fire threes against.
Yeah, but Klay Thompson in Sacramento is crazy. Like,
I think he's good against them for some reason, right? Historically.
Yes, historically he's good against them. Like, I'm about to pull up his stats against them now because I want to see this.
Well, didn't he have that like 40-point whatever? The crazy third quarter was against Sacramento, wasn't it? I think
everything was against Sacramento. I think.
Why does he beat Sacramento?
I think he had the threes, the 12 dribbles and 60 points. He's just
remember that.
Yeah, he's just destroyed them every single time. So, just Clay's too cheap. He's too cheap.
Naismith officially rolled out for Indiana. Nembhard is available for Indiana. I'm guessing Mathurin draws to start for Indiana. We'll see. Stay tuned as far as that. Did you have I'm sorry, I might have missed it because I was looking at injuries. Did you have anything as far as the Kings?
I mentioned them already. Barnes possibly, and Sabonis in tournaments. Other than that, no one else.
JWH is asking, how high owned do we think Nunn's going to be? I mean, he's 3K on DK. It's going to be high. He's not officially ruled in as a starter, for what it's worth. That doesn't mean he's probably going to play a good bit of minutes no matter what. But we are currently projecting an enormous number on him, and this is pretty ambitious. We currently have at 46%, which is insane for if you know Kendrick Nunn, and it's a 15-game slate. But again, 3K, still minimum. We're giving him 30 minutes. We're projecting he starts. Now, if he doesn't start, that'll fall back. And when will we know when he starts? I don't know. About 10 games into the slate at least. So there you go. Is Duncan Robinson a sneaky play? I mean, he's the same deal as Strus. If he gets his 3-ball going, they'll let him stay on the court. And there is some opportunity with Hero being out. What do you think of Robinson?
No.
How many minutes are we projecting for him? So we're giving him 24 minutes at 3.2K. And again, there's a fragility to it because he's all about his 3-ball and if he's getting burned on defense. And like you watch Miami, that's how it goes. Sometimes he's in the streets, sometimes he's not. Sometimes he's getting burned. He gets kicked off the court. 24 minutes seems like a reasonable number in the middle, but he could play 30 and he could play 22. And he can go 2 for 11 from 3, or he can go like 7 of 9. And I don't know. I'm not sure which it's going to be. I get why you want to play him, but I'm not excited about it. Last game on the slate. Let's knock this one out before the crunch time crew comes in. They're knocking on the door shortly. Cleveland Clippers. 212.5 is the total. Clippers are 5-point dogs here. By the way, I was on the podcast last night with we were talking about how Cleveland was getting a point. We're like, how is Cleveland getting a point in this game? This doesn't make any sense. And I think Keith got it live, like Cleveland getting a point, or maybe it was just a 1-point line. But this has shifted dramatically because Cleveland is distinctly better than the Clippers. What a weird opening line they had there for the Clippers. Of course, there's some body parts out there for LA. Kennard, we're not certain about. He's got a chest. He's questionable. Arjax is questionable. Wall is out. Leonard out until whenever. And the Cavs, they're fully healthy, except Dylan Windler. Doesn't matter. What do you have as far as this game?
Jared Allen. That's about it for Cleveland. And he's only because he's 6'6", but and he has the stocks. But I really don't really have a lot of interest in this game that much. And then when it comes to the Clippers side, I have Paul George. I think Paul George is the only person I think I have. Where is the Clippers? I think there we go. Paul George.
Roll right. They're all the way. Eventually, you get to the game.
Paul George is a guy that I have interest in, but 9-1 is expensive. Cleveland is a good defensive team, so it's a lower priority for me, honestly, but something I would be interested in a little bit. And Marcus Morris. But like I said, these two guys are not high priorities for me just because Cleveland is a good team, and this game is probably going to be more of a slow-paced game. If
you're behind in tournaments or something like that, I'm just throwing this thought out there. If you're looking to be a little bit different and you have none and you're not going to be able to catch anybody because none theoretically will be popular, I think an interesting pivot is Terrence Mann. If things fall his way, there's a chance Jackson doesn't play. John Wall already ruled out. Kennard we don't know just yet. I think Terrence Mann could be an interesting pivot away, or just you can play him as is. You don't necessarily have to mess it with none. But again, it's not popping right now, but things can certainly change as far as the situation there with the Clippers. I believe I heard some rumbling. I think the Crunch Time crew. Oh, no, never mind. I thought I heard. Oh, there they are. No, that's just producer Rob. Are they knocking on the door or what?
I'm going to bring in the Crunch Time crew, but are you ready to sing before you say bye?
Well, I mean, I don't. Did we officially get 3,000 likes? Is that what he said? 3,000?
75.
75 that's an insulting number. I don't get out of bed for more than 6,500 likes.
You're tearing up my heart, Dean. Honestly.
Kevin Roth, what is your go-to karaoke song? I know you have one.
Yeah, it's "I'll Make Love to You."
I'll make love to you.
Yeah, and then I like grind. I like yeah, and I start grinding on participants and like I hump the floor. I really
Are they willing
make it.
Participants? This isn't just randos, is it?
No. I'm not gonna start grinding. This is the year 2022. You can't grind on a rando.
Magic Mike in it out here.
Yeah, I basically bring it real sexy, and it brings the house down every time.
Can you see that and raise that, TJ or Andy? You can't raise that. You can't. The bar's been set.
I got a full list here on my iPhone notes of karaoke songs that I frequent when it's required from me. I can pull out some Billy Joel Piano Man, some Teenage Dirtbag. Depends. I got lots of range. Depends what I'm needed for.
Teenage Dirtbag. Yeah, there you go. That was before your time. Well, I guess so was Piano Man, right? Andy, you got anything or no?
Dirtbag wasn't before my
you
time.
can't
How
talk to-
young do you think I am?
Yeah, you can't talk to Means. Meansy has the
Oh,
thing
that's
where
right.
his computer takes like 5 minutes when he joins this program. So you just have to let him sit there quietly until his computer catches up.
Can you mime
Dean,
it, Andy? Andy, can you mime the song? Let's see if we can guess. Okay, wait, Mr. The Roboto, is that what you're doing? What song?
Dean,
The Undertaker
you had
theme.
2 jobs. You were
Which
supposed
were
to
they?
get the likes up, and you were supposed to not talk to Andy in the crossover.
Yeah.
We're
Forgot that was a
currently
rule.
not getting enough likes, and you're talking to Andy. I think you deserve the kick in the nuts, even though we didn't get 100.
You know, I'm good just as long as I can get off the stream and make some lineups because I'm overwhelmed. There's too many lineups for me to have to make and not enough time. But Andre, you got anything else for the boys? We stepping aside and getting out of here. We're making way for crunch time.
I have nothing else. I have a Scars and Scrubsy lineup that actually looks kind of really good.
Who's your scrub? Who's your scrubbiest scrub?
My scrubbiest scrub is Kyle Anderson and Nas Reed.
Oh boy, that's pretty scrubtastic. All right, Roth, myself and Andre are going to step aside. Appreciate the producer Rob. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Hit that like button before TJ tells y'all to do so. We want the credit for it. You'll hear from Andy Means in a minute or two, give or take. But the Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time, starring Kevin Roth, it's starting now. Roth, go for it.
Appreciate it, Dino. As always, welcome to it. Crunch Time, sponsored by Fanduel, starts right now. This is it, the moment you've been waiting for. By the way, if you haven't done so, you got to make sure you're in the Fanduel Single Entry Series. It is back for NFL. Reserve your entry at the $5, $33, or $100 tier. Get in on the action, weekly and seasonal prizes. Current leaders, by the way, after the second week of contests in week 9. And first, it's J-Tay. Second is Puck Rat. We got a hockey person winning. And then in third is Dream Team. So make sure you're filling that. Single entries where it's at. Crunch Time is also where it's at. We got 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. TJ Zwarych. Was I close?
Nope. But I do appreciate, when I was doing the Crunch Time reads yesterday, first place in the FanDuel single entry series was somebody named TJ. And then today it's somebody named J-Tay. And so I'm feeling pretty good about the name. Maybe it's going to be me on top of that leaderboard next week.
You're up next, bud. How you feeling about this slate? This is kind of a weird schedule. We got the 15-minute things, and I think it has something to do with Election Day tomorrow. But everybody's playing, and it's in weird things. But how do you feel about the slate in general?
I like the weird increments because I feel like that's going to be giving us lots of time throughout the night to make little adjustments as each game drops news before it happens. But I kind of feel like this should be the norm. That way you're not getting a bunch of games at halftime at the same time. It's beautiful. I would like to see more of this in the future.
I'm not sure why that didn't even occur to me, but you're right. That's it's kind of cool. Yeah, I like it as well. You know who else I like? I like Andy F. Means, whose microphone may or may not be working at this point in the show. Let's give it a shot. Means, how you feeling? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I don't like when there's 15 games. I do like that there's 15 increments for every game, but 15 games, tad overboard. But I understand why they're doing it, and like literally every team is playing. Like every active or every available player is playing. Like there's no like wondering what's going on, wondering who's on back. Like no one's on the front end of a back-to-back. We know that. There's a lot of easy things to figure out here, but with so many games, there's also a lot of like difficult things to figure out. So we will try to help the people get through all that.
Yeah, it's weird being a slate this big and playing your core plays because I feel like I'm such a chalk donkey. Like in a 15-game slate, I'm going to be playing guys that are like 60% owned, but it feels so right. I can't not do it. Means
that is the epitome of a chalk donkey, playing my plays in a single entry tournament. Yes, you pretty much defined it.
I just feel any better, Roth. I'm playing 2 of the 3 of them in my current tournament build, and I'm planning on keeping it the same unless we get some different injury news pop up. So I think it's all right to play some chalk in tournaments, even on a 15-game slate, as long as you find a couple ways in your lineup to do something a little different.
Okay, that does make me feel a whole lot better. Guys, before we talk about the slate real quick, I just wanted to point out that I'm coming to you live from Houston, Texas, the center of the champions of the baseball universe. Shout out to my favorite team for as long as I can remember. Muted. Did I
Sorry.
get attention?
Nobody wanted to hear that.
Shout out to the wonderful Houston Astros. You know, it means I've been a fan since I was a little kid, and I'm just so excited that my team won it all.
I'm glad I can just like the sarcasm is just pouring through the screen right now because I'm pretty sure he has never ever mentioned liking them. So I'm glad your little shit-eating grin gave it away there.
I'm not from Houston. I don't like baseball. I don't like the team. I'm a Tampa Bay fan, but for now, I'm just enjoying the perks and pretending and enjoying it. With that out of the way, let's go ahead. Let's talk about this slate because I assume with 15 games, we got a hell of a lot to talk about. So, Means, why don't you give us the overall rundown? I feel like it's going to take like 20 minutes with this many games.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly enough, for so many games, the news has been tamer than I thought. We still have some Q tags, like Embiid. It sounds like he's going to play, but you never know with him or Doc Rivers. Trae Young's Q, Levine's Q, Anthony Simons is Q. You got a midday downgrade. So there's a couple other ones I won't get into, and like a couple that are like lumped together by team. But believe it or not, like not a ton. That's been like moving all over the place. Like at least one of those slates last week was way, way more impacted than this one has been as of now. A long way to go, but I'll probably just jump into Fanduel if you want. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it. And
my prediction for when we get to TJ and who he's not playing of these three, I'm going to predict it's going to be Kyle Anderson. So that's going to be my prediction. We'll see what he says when he gets there.
Wait, TJ, of the three, was it DK or Fanduel when you said you're playing two of the three?
It is Fanduel, and I wish that the answer was Kyle Anderson. But no,
okay. All right.
It was Hardenstein? Oh, man. Good luck to your
I don't
lineups.
feel good about it, but it's just I absolutely adore this lineup. There's a couple ways it gets different than it. It's full on stars and scrubs.
That's fair. Like if he gets in foul trouble, or maybe if they like close with Obi Toppin again, that's fair. I just love Hardenstein. So we'll let you talk about more of your reasoning here in a little bit. For cash games, though, I have Russ tagged. I think my stat in my article earlier today was if you look at 18 games from dating back to the start of last season when AD played and LeBron did not, I think Russ had per 36 averages, per 36 average of like 40 Fanduel points, 42 DK points. We have him right at 36 minutes, so you got to like him if he's anywhere close to that tonight. We just got word that Kyle Kuzma will play. He got a downgrade maybe, an hour ago, so it's good to see he's playing. We don't have to deal with that one. Let's talk about some other guards, other point guards specifically. Actually, I want to talk about both because there's two that I just love tonight on both sites, Rozier and Van Vliet. Rozier has played 3 games this year, 2 of them with Gordon Hayward, 1 without, I believe. And his rates are just way higher than last year, mainly because like no LaMelo, obviously, but no Hayward too. So like if you just, I think it's like 33% usage rate, 31% assist rate, something like that. Compared to that's like 27 and 21 from last year. So just the fact that he's still under 8K on both sides, love him. Matchup's decent. Van Vliet, no Siakam. He played 39 minutes yesterday, I think. So he's just off of 3 games being out. Nurse usually doesn't care about that kind of stuff. Like, I think he played 1 other back-to-back this year as before his absence, but he played like 36 and 38. So you've got to feel pretty decent about Van Vliet getting the minutes again. Obviously, there's price involved. On Fanduel, I think I'm going Van Vliet as a priority, as the priority ahead of Rozier. DK, we'll get to that, but I think it's Rozier over there. But doesn't end there. You have Kendrick Nunn, who's really cheap, 3.5 on Fanduel. I don't think he's a priority on Fanduel. On DK, I think he is, which we'll talk about. Let's see any others that like kind of made main builds here. I don't think so. Ingram, I can just talk about at small forward since he has small forward eligibility. I think he's fine. I don't think he's an absolute must, but he's 7'4", I think. 7'4" on FanDuel. So I think he's fine for this build. You have Giannis there. You have Troy Brown. Paolo, I think, is fine as a spend up. Kind of prefer to get into Giannis if you can. Kuzma, now that he's in, I like Kuzma. He's a much better price tag on FanDuel, so I think that'll do it for small forward. Power forward, Hartenstein, Porzingis, Giannis, Paolo, Kyle Anderson, Kuzma, all guys I've already talked about. AD is the one I haven't talked about yet. And I didn't talk about Porzingis, but I do like him a little more at center. So AD, I think if you look at just off the court stuff on Court IQ with no LeBron the past 2 seasons, AD is like 1.5 FanDuel points per minute. So I do think he's fine. I would just prefer to get to Giannis. Giannis is it's like basically every time we talk about him, I say the same thing. Like he just gets like 50. I think he's gotten 58 or more fantasy points or more FanDuel points in 6 of his 8 games. That's just it's hard to get away from that, and we have the value. So
what's the price difference there? What's the price difference?
1,300. It's meaningful, but it's also a slate where we have like a 3-6 Kyle Anderson. You have a 3-5 Kendrick Nunn. You have cheap stuff if you really want to make the effort to get him. Is basically what the deal is. You can make great lineups with AD. You can make great lineups with Giannis. So I don't think either are the wrong decision. I would probably prefer Giannis slightly. Then at center, the guys I'm mainly looking at, it's kind of weird that Hartenstein doesn't have center eligibility considering he basically plays all of his minutes at center, but that's a story for another day. I'm basically looking at 3 guys here. I'd be looking at AD. Actually, I'll throw 4 in there because I do like Cat. He has really good per 36 numbers with no Gobert, predictably, and I really like the price tag. And weirdly enough, the Knicks give out the most threes in the league, and Cat likes to shoot threes. It's a little misleading, I suppose, with the stats because a lot of that's been with Mitchell Robinson playing, and now he's not, so you don't know if that matters with their scheme or anything. But so my 4 would be AD, Cat, Porzingis, and Jakob Poeltl at 6'8". So those would be the 4 guys I'm looking at. Not really prioritizing anybody here, just kind of seeing where the build takes me.
Okay. That's it?
Yep.
Okay, very nice. TJ, let's talk tournaments, man. Maybe chalk isn't a problem. Now, the more I think about it, with 15 games, maybe I'm going to get different somehow, even accidentally.
That's kind of the exact mindset I'm going with today. We have some very chalky plays, but do I really care? It's a 15-game slate. Is my lineup going to be duped? No, probably not.
Yeah.
And so for me personally, I'm not overly worried about it. Now, having said that, there are some guys currently sitting in my lineup like a Torian Prince and a Kyle Anderson. I guess Prince probably won't be that chalky if he's not starting, but a Kyle Anderson that I will be quick to pivot off of if other value opens up. However, as it stands right now, I don't mind eating a little bit of that chalk as long as I'm finding somewhere else to get different in my lineup. So at point guard, I don't mind the Russell Westbrooks. I don't mind the Kendrick Nunns. I really, really love Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is probably my favorite play on the slates on FanDuel. You get extra bonus for those steals and blocks. He's only 7,200. He's probably my favorite play on the entire slate on FanDuel. Outside of that in tournaments, I'm going to be getting up to Luka Doncic today. So I'm only playing one lineup on FanDuel because of being on crunch time. Didn't want to get too crazy with this being a 15-game slate. That's why I like somebody like Isaiah Hartenstein, but just in my personal lineup, I'm not getting to him because I think the only players in my lineup above that aren't above 9K or below 4K are going to be Russell Westbrook and Fred VanVleet for me today. So there are some other guys that if I was running 150 that I'd want to get to in excess of the field. Tyrese Halliburton, Stephen Curry, Trae Young if he plays, as well as De'Aaron Fox I really like. And of course, Terry Rozier, like Meansy said, very good play. Kyle Lowry with no Tyler Herro going up against Portland, I think is very interesting. But for me personally, like the biggest person that I'm going to be, like biggest stand I'm taking today is going to be using Luka Doncic as my spend up. Switching over to the shooting guards and the small forwards, I really like if you're going in the mid range, somebody like Benedict Mathurin today, 5,700, going up against New Orleans, probably going to be playing a bunch of minutes. I'm okay with the Kendrick Nunn chalk just because to me the guard position is weirdly not as strong as it usually is. We got a lot of good pay up options up top, but most of the value I want to be playing is in the front court. So Kendrick Nunn chalk, a lot of people may not feel comfortable with it. For me personally, I am good with it unless something else opens up later for me. And then in the front court, I still really like my Raptors. Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, Chris Boucher, I think all are very interesting. We got Otto Porter questionable for this one. He's been battling like getting healthy as this year goes on. So with this being a back-to-back, he might not play, and that'll open up more minutes for the Precious Achiuwas and the Chris Bouchers in there as well. And so I like those guys as some pivots. But for me personally, at this small forward position, if I'm not paying up for Giannis or if I'm not paying up for KD, I'm looking to save some salary, and I'm looking at guys like Kyle Anderson and Taurean Prince. I'm fine with playing both of them, even if only one of them starts. We saw last game they can both play 30 plus minutes. I'm all good with using those guys as salary savers. And another salary saver I'm very interested in if he starts for the Lakers is going to be Wenyen Gabriel. Wenyen Gabriel is a guy that is a great point per minute producer, but he doesn't get that many minutes. And so if he pops into the starting lineup today, then he's somebody that I'm going to be interested in getting to quite a bit. And where was, and the other thing I think it's very important to keep an eye on is we have a questionable Reggie Jackson right now. With Reggie Jackson questionable, that makes, if he's out, John Wall's already out. So Paul George, Terrence Mann, Amir Coffey, these are the guys who are going to be having to play the point guard position essentially for the Clippers, and you can get them at this small forward position. So I think that would make all the Clippers very interesting. And somebody like a Terrence Mann, if he happens to start at the point guard position, all of a sudden becomes a very interesting pivot off of the guys like Kyle Anderson, who are going to be, or Terrence Nunn, who are going to be a little chalkier. Center position, I love Davis. I love Embiid if he plays. I love Karl Anthony Towns. Porzingis is interesting for tournaments for me, but I think anybody in that first game, I'd want to mini stack it with like Rozier and Porzingis and Kuzma, something like that, or just not play it at all so I have room to adjust. And then finally, another salary saver at the center position that I really like today that we're projecting pretty well, but he is not picking up very much ownership, is Koloko for the Toronto Raptors. This is a guy that we kind of expected him to be the type of starter that he plays like 15, 16 minutes and that's it. But he's been playing 21, 22 minutes for the Raptors. And now with Pascal Siakam out in his very first game starting without Pascal, played 31 minutes. It's going up against the exact same team. I don't think we can expect 6 blocks again, but we can probably still expect 2 blocks, solid outing from him. And I think he makes a good value play that likely he's probably just going to get you low 20s. It's not going to hurt you, and it's not going to help you that much. But if he gets into the 30 minutes range like last time, he could 10, 15x that salary and win you a tournament.
Very good. Very interesting. Okay. Hey, I saw a name that I literally didn't know existed. So I wanted to ask this, TJ. Hammer says, do you think Scottie Pippen Jr. will get good run tonight? Is that a person?
That's a real person. And
I had no idea there was a
person
Scottie
that
Pippen
I'm playing.
Jr. So I'm sorry, I cut you off. What was that?
I said it. I do. That is a real person, not a real person that I'm going to be playing. I don't think we're even currently projecting him right now. He's on the Lakers. For me personally, like we're projecting Nunn to start and Troy Brown to start. If I'm going to pivot off of one of those 2 chalky guys, it's probably going to be Troy Brown. And if I'm going to eat the chalk on one, it's going to be Kendrick Nunn. But the other 2 people that I'd take good looks at, especially if they pop into the starting lineup, are Matt Ryan and the quarterback for the Falcons who got benched. Now he's on the Lakers since he's not playing anymore.
Quite an athlete.
Great athlete. And so Matt Ryan, if he pops into the starting lineup, or Wenyen Gabriel, if he pops into the starting lineup, both of them would interest me. And then even if they're not in the starting lineups, I think I'd still include them in the pool if I was running 150.
Okay, very good. I want it noted. I was in downtown Atlanta one time, maybe 8 years ago, and someone came up to me and thought I was Matt Ryan. They're like, "Yeah,
What?
you're Matt Ryan, right?" And I was like, "What? No, the hell, I'm not at all." Okay, means DK. Let's go.
Yeah, Roth, I'll give you $1 American if you can tell me who Scottie Pippen Jr.'s father is.
Oh God, it's not Scottie Pippen.
It is. Yes, good guess.
That's okay. Hey, I thought that was a
Good
trick
job,
question
Roth.
coming for sure.
I can't let this go. I can't let go somebody thinking Roth is Matt Ryan because Matt Ryan is 6'4".
Okay. Oh, I'm 6'1", so that's not like that.
Why do I always think you're a lot shorter than that?
I don't know, but I'm offended. Let's continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very stereotypical.
Yeah. All right. Means, what do you got?
Everyone thinks Weathermen are short.
That's true. And never mind. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. Means, continue.
Yeah. DK. All right. DK is relatively easy. First three for me are Russ at point guard, Nunn at the shooting guard, Hartenstein at the center spot. Then I think the next guy in is AD because this is a much, much different price tag than it is on FanDuel. So he's 9-1 on DK. That's 3 Lakers, which I am fine with. That's how I think you start. So let's look at some guards here.
Mhm.
You're going to be putting in this slot here, or depending on what you do, you'll obviously want to fix it for the start times of everything. And the reason I say that is because, like Terry Rozier mentioned him on FanDuel, I do like him a lot as kind of one of the next big spins after AD. Darius Garland, oh my God, he's still under 7K. Like, he is just such a good cash game spend on DK. Great floor, has a ceiling because sometimes they'll just play him like 40 minutes. And if nothing else too, like if you're a little iffy, if you want to like leave yourself some flexibility, play Garland instead of Rozier, save the $800, and you save yourself hours of time to get news. So like, I think both of those are viable. I already mentioned Van Vliet, but you have Garland and Rozier, who I just prefer a little bit better. Cheap stuff. You have Duncan Robinson. Yeah, that's a good enough. Let's go to small forward because that's plenty of guard talk.
There's too many good guard plays. Like, you can't play all the guards you want. And then we get to forward, and like, I don't really want to play these dudes. So blow me away, Means.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Troy Brown is probably who I'd say. He's 3'8". That's another Laker, which is fine, just because they're very shorthanded. Not only is it a bodies thing, not only is it a minutes thing, but it's a rates thing. LeBron does a bunch of everything. So that's points, rebounds, assists, and everything else to go around. And if you're Russell Westbrook, turnovers. So I think you can play like 4 Lakers, and I think that's fine. I mentioned Duncan Robinson. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to give something that's not just play Troy Brown. So I don't love him, but I think that's the route. So I'm trying to dance around it, and I'm not doing a good job. Maybe a Raptor, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes. I think those guys are fine. I honestly think you're going cheap here. You're playing Brown, Duncan Robinson, maybe like Kyle Anderson at 4-1. You're probably going cheap here. So sorry, Roth.
No, it's fine. What about didn't we play a guy on the last site on FanDuel, Mauritian or something? I don't know.
Oh, Benedict. Yeah, he's like 5. We came down a little bit on him. Yeah, Benedict Mathurin. I think he was one of the best plays at the slate at small forward. We moved him down a little bit, so I didn't get to update the article. But I still really like him. He's 5'9". I think he's more of like a last piece sort of thing. I think he is. Because small forward is probably my least favorite position anyway. So you fill out everything else and see where you land. If you land there, play him. Like if you're landing in the 3 or 4K range, play one of those other dudes. I do think he's fine. I didn't update that though. Power forward, I mentioned
Giannis Antetokounmpo is a game time decision.
Stop it.
Yeah, don't pay attention to that stuff unless he got listed as questionable. That stuff kind of gets overused. That term, just because they asked the coach and he's like, yeah, he's a game time decision. But as long as he's listed probable, I don't pay attention to that stuff. So, until we see him downgraded to questionable is when I will is when I'll pay attention. They've been doing that a handful of times already this year. They've had a bunch of guys probable, and those guys have all played. Giannis got listed questionable over the weekend, and he did not play. So, yeah.
Okay.
Then, power forward. Yeah, power forward, AD. He's 9-1. And like I said, I already think you play him. Then all these other – I'm trying to think of if there's anyone else at just forward in general. I don't think there is. So it's like maybe Chris Boucher would be a name I didn't mention. But I think you're most likely going cheap at small forward and most likely going cheap at the forward spots. Roth, you pretty much nailed it. Like the rest of the forwards just kind of suck, which is another reason just to like play AD. Not to mention just the great price tag, but the forward as a whole for such a big slate is relatively uninspiring. And then that will leave it to center, where I do think Hartenstein's the play. If there's anyone else I like that I would be putting in the util spot, I would say I could see you landing on like a Miles Turner. I could see you landing on a Porzingis. TJ's boy Koloko, I think he's okay, but you're probably not going to need that because you're going to, by default, go cheap at those forward spots. Yeah, I didn't mention Giannis. 12-6 is a little rich for my blood on DK.
Didn't you just tell me at the forward spot you can play Giannis? Didn't you?
I thought I said that on FanDuel. I don't remember saying his name.
Who were you just talking about? Where you're like, might as well spend up for this forward? I thought it was Giannis.
Oh, I was just reiterating the AD stuff.
Oh, it was AD. I'm sorry. I'm a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
Drinking beers. All right, my bad. I thought you were talking about Giannis for some reason. All right.
It's all right. I'm done anyway, so have at it. I'm done.
Okay.
I had nothing else to say at center.
All right. TJ, let's talk DK real fast. We got 7 minutes until lock.
I don't think it'll take me that long because, to be honest with you, I think the best thing you can do for tournaments isn't going to be lock in some specific play. It's not at this time. It's not going to be anything you can really take advantage of yet. I think the best thing you can do for tournaments with all these 15-game increments all night long is keep your finger on the pulse and be ready to swap. When you have still situations that we don't know anything about, like the Clippers with a bunch of value that could open up, and this insane chalk on guys, on specific guys like Terrence Nunn and Kyle Anderson, I think it makes a lot of sense to just wait and be ready to shuffle guys in. What if we still have in this, where we're playing a bunch of Lakers and a bunch of Utah guys, we have really no idea who's going to end up starting for the Lakers. We think we got a pretty good idea, but we don't know. It could end up being a totally different starting lineup than we're expecting. Jared Vanderbilt's questionable for Utah. If he's out, maybe Mike Conley ends up getting a surprise sit on a back-to-back. Could be a ton of value that opens up there. There still could be so much that comes throughout the night. So I think the biggest edge you can have is to just make sure, if you're playing tournaments today, wait and pay attention all night long. Be ready to swap all night long, because if you're not, other people are likely going to pass you. It's not going to be a night that you can just set it and forget about it. And if you do that, I think you want to try and have a few mini game stacks of some of these earlier games like Washington and Charlotte, because if not, and you're not ready to pay attention and to swap, I don't think you're going to be able to win any tournaments today. Another situation I really like to keep a close eye on for tournaments is still this Toronto Raptors situation. If we get Otto Porter out, which we probably will, then somebody like a Chris Boucher, $4,400 on DraftKings, I think that's a phenomenal value play that not many people are going to get to today.
Okay, very good. We've got about 5 minutes for some QQs. Let's open it up. And I'm pulling up the RG Discord. If you're not in it, you should be. It's where all the cool kids are hanging out. We'll start with Hijack G. Means no love for Isaiah Stewart.
I think that might have been a FanDuel question. I mean, I just don't think he's necessary on this slate. He didn't pop up in any of my builds, but maybe as a last piece, I don't know.
Okay, no Randall on FanDuel at center, 7,200 means?
Yeah, he was fine. You can make an argument he's a little safer than Porzingis too, with Porzingis on the second night of a back-to-back.
Very good. Are 4 Lakers too many means in DK Cash from DF for Life?
No.
Nice. FanDuel GPP, TJ, you're up. 4,300 left. Need a cheap small forward.
Now it's FanDuel, sorry?
Yeah, FanDuel 4,300 small forward.
I mean, the answer is Troy Brown at this point, but and the nice thing about that is you can be ready to pivot too. So Troy Brown.
Very good. FanDuel Cash means Cade, Rozier, or Edwards. I feel like you loved Rozier, but maybe that was only a DK play. I'm not sure.
No, yeah, it was a FanDuel one. Man, if you have the money for Cade, I don't. He's been really good. Like he had a stretch of 4 games where he had like 46, at least 46 FanDuel points, and they ran into 2 blowouts, so his minutes were down. The timing of it, yeah, it would definitely be between Cade and Rozier. I'm obviously a little wishy-washy, so I would probably say Rozier.
Okay, all right. DKGPP, TJ Reed, or Toppin?
Reed as in
Nas
Reed, I would guess.
Nas Reed.
Nas.
Yeah,
I was
Nas.
thinking Nas, yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking at Philly and I was like, we don't know that Embiid's out yet. Yeah, I'd go Nas Reed.
Okay, very good. NBA DFS says FanDuel Cash means Randall, Zinger, Ingram versus Sabonis, Stewart, Edwards.
I would definitely do the first one.
Man or none in FanDuel Cash if man starts.
Yeah, sorry, that was Cash.
Yeah, means.
I would, yeah, if Man's starting, it's most likely because Jackson's out. So if Man's starting, I would play man over none.
Okay. BHB says DK Cash means Anderson or Troy Brown.
I think Slow-Mo's safer.
Quickly, this is, I think, a good question to piggyback off of that last one. Meansy, how would you prioritize it in Cash? Anderson or Prince, whichever starts, assuming it's Anderson still. Anderson, man, and none. If we happen to get man starting and Reggie Jackson out, what would those 3 be kind of tiered at for you?
I feel like those are like 2 questions. I feel like those are kind of 2 questions. The slow-mo Prince one is just whoever starts.
But then
easy, in my opinion, yeah.
Would you like prioritize that guy above or below Terrence Mann and Kendrick Nunn?
I would prioritize slow-mo over none, especially for positional reasons, because I like a lot of other guards on FanDuel more than, just if you look at the 2 positions together. And then I think I would still, for the same reason, I would probably still prioritize slow-mo over Terrence Mann because they'll still have guys. And you never know with Lou, man. Like, even if man starts, like, it's not like he's guaranteed for boatloads of minutes. They have tons of guards and wings, even with these guys out. So I would still probably put Slow-Mo over Terrence Mann if that all comes to fruition, right? And what's the timing of those games? You might have to make a decision anyways. When's that Minnesota game? I don't know.
It's a full hour 15 before the Clipper one.
Yeah, you might not. You probably won't know, but I would, just go slow-mo.
Okay, very good. DKGPP, TJ Robinson or Matty Ice Part 2? I don't think he means me in this case. He means the
Matty Ice Part 2 because you can pivot to somebody else if he's not starting later. I'd rather have that start time.
Very good. BHB has my lineup because I'm a chalk donkey. It's his cash lineup, and he landed at Markkanen or Keldon Johnson. And I know because I scrolled down and ended up with like $1,000 left over because I refused to pick one of them.
I would play Markkanen.
Wow. Oof. Freyas, is DeJounte a cash play if Trey is out on DK?
Yes.
Very good. DKGPP, is a Durant-Luka stack viable? You're going to say the answer is always, TJ.
Heck yes.
Here's why I'm going to say no. That's right. I'll wait for it. DK Cash means 3v3, Garland, Nunn, Markkanen, or Cade, Troy Brown, Turner.
First one.
Hijack G says Jordan Goodwin and DK for a GPP. Is that viable?
Only if you're running 150.
Who are these? Who is this man?
He played big minutes for
Washington
yesterday with Beal out, and for me, I wouldn't go there. If you were running 150, I'd maybe have him in 1 or 2.
Okay, very good. Hey, if you watched this and you thought, wow, 2 of those 3 guys were really sharp, the weatherman's kind of an idiot, go ahead, hit the like button, hit that thumbs up on YouTube. This is free content, and we're all doing it because FanDuel is giving it away, and all we ask for is a like. So please do hit that like button. We appreciate it. We have hit the lock. I am out this is just such a stupid thing for me to do, to just have a bold take for no reason. No one asked me. And like all that could happen is it could be wrong. But
this is great. Let's hear it.
No, KD is going to have his worst game of the season. Because the last time the Mavs played this team, it was this actually does have some substance. It's not just box score.
Heard the reason and just
No. There's some substance. They threw double teams at him immediately, so it turned into like a bunch of hockey assists for him. It just became 4-on-3 basketball elsewhere, and they didn't let him score. They made other people do it, and he didn't even get a ton of assists for it. So, assuming
I don't hate the rationale, Roth.
Yeah,
Trae Young is now doubtful.
Oh,
DeJounte.
Here's something. Here's something for all the. Here's something I can show off for everyone watching for free.
Okay, let's do it.
So if you're a premium member, we have these things called what if projections. Go to our content schedule, hit the what if projections, and this is it's a little different because we're on the show right now and we can talk through it a little bit. But like if it's let's say you're just wondering what the heck's going to happen if someone's out. We have all of these, and you can just basically plug them in to your builds and whatnot. So like as you can see here with here's look at DeJounte's FanDuel value. So like his RG value on FanDuel is a 9.02. Like let's see where that sits with everyone else on the slate. It's probably gonna be like the best one. He's gonna be like the best value on the slate on FanDuel. So like that's stuff you can look at when you're just going throughout the day, or if it's after lock and we're still waiting on news. A very clutch tool that we put together. We try to hit all the important ones. We don't always hit everybody, but we try to hit the important ones, and this one ended up working. So
okay, very good.
Just want to show that off.
Yeah, I like it. Means now I'm plugging in DeJounte Murray, and now I need help with the lineup. You want to help me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet. Now I'm at the forward spot, and I've got some cash left over, and I've got 4,900. And by the way, I see this guy McDaniels, who I think there's multiple McDaniels. Is that correct?
Yeah, Jalen and Jaden.
Yeah, I wish I would have known.
It's so
that.
hard on a 15-game slate when people don't give first names in the questions just to know who they're talking about. Because even if it's an obvious one like Reed, without seeing that spelling, it's just like because there's so many damn people playing.
Yeah. A few nights ago, we were supposed to play McDaniels, and I did, and I definitely played the wrong one. No one gave me the heads up that there were multiple McDaniels. I'm just the worst DFS player ever.
What did the one you should have played do, and what did the one you did play do? Like, what was the difference? That's what I really want to know.
The one that I did play didn't do shit. I know that. So I know it was a poor decision. I almost quit DFS like at that moment. I was like, God, I'm an idiot.
But what if you actually picked the right one? What if you picked the right one and the wrong one was the one that maybe you just assumed you picked the wrong one because the guy sucked? Maybe you listened.
No, I don't think so. Because I looked back and I looked at RG and I was like, oh shit, I played the wrong guy. Okay, so I got 4,900 to forward on DK.
Okay, I mean, yeah, my default is to play slow mo and pay up, and we just got word Levine's playing. Good. My default say play slow mo. Let's look at.
So that's what I did.
Say. Yeah. Did you have anyone you could upgrade off of that you didn't like elsewhere?
No. Everyone else is so good. This is the only spot. Yeah. What about Kevin Love? He crushed the other night. Can I play him?
He did crush the other night.
But he's only going to get 20 minutes again, huh?
I'm blanking. What was that the night they were without dudes, though?
Yeah, yes. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland were both out.
So and he did it in his normal
point forward.
Yeah. He did it in still his normal, 20-ish minutes or whatever. Without seeing your whole lineup, I would probably do something like that, like play a slow-mo or Troy Brown and just pay up elsewhere. But you're also playing in a tournament. You're playing in a tournament, though. Play someone different.
Okay. Herb Jones. I love that guy. Can I play Herb Jones?
You hated Herb Jones at the start of last year.
Only because his name is Herb.
Did.
And then I saw him play.
Sure did.
And then I watched him play, and I was like, this guy is a monster. I love Herb Jones.
Yes. There you go.
Hey, by the
you
way,
can play Harrison Barnes in revenge game. Everyone likes revenge games.
Oh, I might do that against Golden State. No, God,
Yeah.
he's so bad. Jesus, look at those stats. Harrison Barnes. I hate you. I'm going to play Herb Jones just for fun.
There we go. Done.
Hey, Hammer says, great show, guys. Very informative. And
Thank you.
I concur that was most.
The way Roth said it, Hammer, the way Roth said it made it sound a little sarcastic. I don't think you yourself were being sarcastic.
No.
Roth made it come across being sarcastic.
I did not intend to. No, it really excellent work as always. It is a pleasure working with such well-knowledged folk. We're gonna get out of here though. We're post-lock here, so
Well-knowledged folk.
Well, I don't even know what the hell that means. Is that even a word?
Go have another beer, Roth.
I just want to point out that Kevin Durant's burner did not show up in the chat to come after
That
5'1", to come after 5'1"
of.
Kevin Roth. So.
Yeah.
5'1".
Yeah.
I butchered my joke delivery so bad when you were talking about like, I don't want to get into that stereotype. I was gonna make a white guys shooting comment, and then I realized we were pressed for time, and I just like cut it off immediately and sounded like a fool.
I didn't even hear you say anything about it, but I'm glad you didn't make that reference. That's trying to avoid that kind of comments. Hey, you know what we did here is we had a hell of a show. So with that, I think we get on out of here. For Means, for TJ, for our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.